The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and destiny. For 1,000 generations, the Jedi have served as its guardians, interpreting its will and maintaining balance. But what happens when something arrives that exists entirely outside the Force's reach? A power born from a different universe, carrying energy the galaxy has never known. Coruscant's endless cityscape glittered beneath three moons, a monument to civilization's triumph over nature. Speeders threaded through aerial traffic lanes while beneath, in the Jedi Temple's meditation gardens, masters sought communion with the Force in rare moments of peace. The Clone Wars had stretched the Order thin, scattering Jedi Knights across 1,000 battlefields. But here in the Temple's heart, tranquility still prevailed, until the sky tore open. It began as a shimmer like heat distortion rippling across the stars. Then space itself screamed, not with sound, but with a wrongness that every Force sensitive on Coruscant felt simultaneously. Masters jerked from meditation. Younglings cried out in confusion. Even Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, in his executive office kilometers away, paused mid-sentence as he felt something impossible pierce the fabric of reality. The rift blazed orange and blue, colors that swirled with chaotic energy, completely unlike hyperspace's familiar blue tunnel. Lightning that wasn't lightning arced from the tear, and then something fell through. Not a ship, a person. He plummeted like a meteor, wrapped in a cloak of golden energy that flickered and sparked against the atmosphere. The energy field, chakra, though no one in this galaxy knew that word, cushioned his descent but couldn't stop it entirely. He crashed through the temple's upper atmosphere shields, systems designed to stop orbital bombardment, barely registering his passage, and slammed into the meditation gardens with force enough to crack the ancient stone. When the dust settled, Jedi Temple guards rushed forward, lightsaber pikes ignited. They surrounded the crater, expecting a separatist weapon or some new Sith monstrosity. Instead, they found a young man, barely more than a boy, pulling himself to his feet. Naruto Uzumaki stood in the center of the impact site, orange jumpsuit torn and smoking, blonde hair matted with dust. His bright blue eyes swept across the unfamiliar surroundings, the towering spires, the strange armored guards with weapons made of pure light. The absolutely massive city that stretched beyond sight in every direction. For a moment, confusion dominated his expression. Then Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. Naruto, where are we? I can't sense any of the tailed beasts. This chakra network feels wrong. Empty. I don't know, Naruto muttered in response, speaking Japanese, though no one present would understand. That jutsu Sakura and I were fighting. It must have torn through dimensions or something. Believe it, this is way worse than that time we got trapped in that genjutsu world. The temple guards shifted, weapons raised but not attacking. Through the Force, they sensed no malice from this strange arrival, but also no Force presence at all. He was a void, like the Yuuzhan Vong of legend, yet somehow different. Power radiated from him, immense, barely contained power, but it felt alien, wrong, other. You will come with us, the lead guard commanded in Basic, the galaxy's common tongue. The council will decide your fate. Naruto understood none of the words, but tone and body language transcended language barriers. These were warriors, disciplined and cautious. They thought he was a threat. His hand moved instinctively toward a kunai pouch that was no longer there, lost in the dimensional crossing, before he forced himself to relax. Hey, hey! He raised his hands in a peaceful gesture, though his stance remained balanced, ready. I'm not here to fight. I don't even know where here is. He switched to a disarming grin, the expression that had won over countless enemies. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Name's Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. Well, current Hokage technically, but more Jedi arrived, drawn by the disturbance. Among them, a Togruta Padawan, barely younger than Naruto herself, skidded to a stop, Montral's twitching as she processed the scene. Ahsoka Tano had seen plenty of strange things since becoming Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, but a person falling from a dimensional tear was new even by Clone Wars standards. Master Windu is on his way, she reported to the guards. What is that energy around him? It's not the Force, but I can almost feel it, like it's parallel? Indeed, golden chakra still flickered around Naruto's form, Kurama's energy instinctively protecting him. To Force sensitives, it registered as power. Tremendous power, but fundamentally different from anything they'd encountered. Where the Force connected all things, this energy was self-contained, internal, burning like a star within the boy's body. Before anyone could respond, the air shifted with the arrival of Mace Windu, legendary Jedi Master and senior member of the Council. His purple lightsaber remained unignited, but his hand rested on its hilt as he studied the intruder. Behind him, Jedi Knights fanned out, surrounding the meditation garden. Windu's presence in the Force was like gravity itself, and when he spoke, command filled every syllable. I am Mace Windu of the Jedi Council. You have violated Republic airspace and breached the Jedi Temple. Explain yourself. Naruto recognized authority when he heard it. The tone reminded him of the Raikage, all barely restrained power and zero tolerance for nonsense. The language barrier frustrated him, but he'd been in tough spots before. He pointed at himself, then at the sky, making a tearing motion with his hands. Dimensional jutsu, accident, not my fault. He spoke slowly, hoping tone would convey meaning. Then he pointed at the guards, their weapons, and shook his head vigorously. Friends, not enemies, friends. Ahsoka tilted her head. Master, I don't think he speaks basic, or Huddis, or anything I recognize. His intentions feel genuine, Windu admitted, though suspicion remained in his dark eyes. No deception, but that power. The Jedi Master extended his senses, trying to understand what he felt. The boy was human, that much was clear, but the energy suffusing him defied analysis. We'll take him to the council chamber, carefully. As temple guards moved to escort Naruto, he caught sight of Coruscant's true scope through the garden's open sides. His jaw dropped. The hidden leaf was large, sprawling across the land of fire. But this was impossible. Buildings stretched to the horizon in every direction, rising kilometers into the sky, with flying vehicles darting between them like schools of fish. No trees, no forests, just endless civilization. What kind of place is this? He whispered. Kurama, are you seeing this? A world completely consumed by human construction, the Ninetales replied, equally awed despite himself. Naruto, I think we're very far from home. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The walk through the Jedi Temple's corridors only deepened Naruto's confusion. Holographic displays showed star maps of incomprehensible scale. Droids, actual mechanical beings, moved through halls performing maintenance. Young children in robes practiced with lightsabers, weapons that seemed to be made of pure energy. Everything was advanced beyond anything he'd seen, even in the most technologically sophisticated parts of his world. Temple guards kept careful formation around him as they ascended toward the council chamber. Other Jedi stopped to stare at the strange arrival, their whispers following him. Through windows, he glimpsed the planet's surface far below, or rather, the lack of one. The entire world seemed to be city. Ahsoka walked alongside the procession, curiosity overcoming caution. She studied Naruto openly, noting the way he moved, like a fighter, balanced and alert despite appearing relaxed. The whisker marks on his cheeks were unusual, and that energy still flickered around him sporadically, orange, gold, and warm. Master, she said quietly to Windu, do you think he's a separatist weapon? Some kind of new experiment? Perhaps, or perhaps something far more complicated. Windu's expression remained neutral, but internally he was deeply troubled. The Force offered no clear guidance about this arrival, as if even it was uncertain. That alone was reason for concern. The Force was always certain, always clear to those who listened. This boy existed in a blind spot. They reached the council chamber's great doors, which slid open with mechanical precision. Inside, the circular room held some of the galaxy's greatest Jedi Masters. Yoda sat in his customary chair, ancient eyes gleaming with interest. Obi-Wan Kenobi had arrived via hologram from the Outer Rim, his bearded face showing concern. Others, Ki-Adi Mundi, Plo Koon, Shakti, watched with varying degrees of suspicion and fascination. Naruto entered and immediately recognized a council of leaders when he saw one. These were the people in charge, the decision makers. In his world, he'd stood before the 5K at the summit. This felt similar, except instead of representing villages, these warriors seemed to serve something larger. He stopped in the chamber's center, flanked by guards, and met each master's gaze directly. No fear showed in his eyes, only determination and that irrepressible spark that defined him. Yoda leaned forward, ears twitching. Through the force, he sensed what the others did. Vast power, alien nature, but also something unexpected. Genuine goodness. A protector's spirit. Whoever this boy was, whatever power he carried, he meant no harm. Arrived uninvited you have, Yoda said, his voice gravelly with age. Explain. You must. Speak. Can you understand? Naruto spread his hands helplessly and shook his head. The words meant nothing. Frustration built in his chest. How was he supposed to explain anything when they didn't share a language? Then Ahsoka stepped forward. Master Yoda, if I may? At his nod, she approached Naruto slowly, hands open and non-threatening. She pointed at herself. Ahsoka, then at him, questioning. Understanding lit Naruto's face. He grinned and pointed at himself. Naruto Uzumaki. Progress, that is, Yoda observed. But understanding him, we must. Time this will take. Meanwhile, secure he must be. A guest, perhaps, or a prisoner. Decide, we shall. Mace Windu crossed his arms. The war demands our attention. We don't have time for mysteries. If he's a separatist asset, if separatist he was, attack he would have, Yoda interrupted. Feel his intent, you must. Hostile, he is not. Lost, perhaps. Confused, certainly. But danger to us? The ancient master's expression grew thoughtful. Too soon to say. Through the massive windows, the sun set over Coruscant, casting the endless cityscape in shades of orange and gold. Naruto watched, overwhelmed by this impossible world, knowing Kurama shared his thoughts. There's somewhere completely new, somewhere the Sage of Six Paths' influence had never reached. And getting home would require understanding this place first. He was the seventh Hokage, leader of the Hidden Leaf, one of the most powerful shinobi alive. But here, in this galaxy of stars and impossible technology, he was just a lost kid again. The council continued deliberating in their language he couldn't comprehend, while Naruto stood patient but alert, wondering what came next. The council's debate stretched into hours, though Naruto understood none of it. He sat cross-legged on the chamber floor, having grown tired of standing, while Jedi Masters argued in their incomprehensible language. Their tones shifted, concern, skepticism, curiosity, but without understanding the words, he could only watch body language and wait. Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. Patience was never your strong suit, kid. Yeah, well, being stuck in a room while people argue about you gets old fast, Naruto muttered. Reminds me of when the village elders used to debate whether I should be allowed near other kids. The memory still stung, even after everything he'd accomplished. Temple guards remained stationed at the doors, their presence a constant reminder that despite the civil discussion, he was effectively a prisoner. Naruto had no intention of fighting his way out. These people hadn't actually threatened him, and his instincts said they were protectors, not conquerors. But the inability to communicate gnawed at him. Finally, Yoda tapped his gimmer stick against the floor, silencing the council. The ancient Jedi Master regarded Naruto with eyes that had witnessed 8 centuries of galactic history, and in that gaze, Naruto felt recognition. This being understood what it meant to carry burdens, to protect others despite personal cost. A decision we have made, Yoda announced. Imprisoned you will not be, but free to roam you are not. Stay in the temple you shall. Learn our language. Let us learn of you. Trust earned it must be. Naruto caught none of the specific words, but when Ahsoka approached with a gentle smile and gestured for him to follow, he understood the gist. Not a prisoner, but not free either. Fair enough. He'd been in worse positions. Come on, Ahsoka said, knowing he couldn't understand but hoping tone would help. Let's get you somewhere more comfortable than a council chamber. And maybe some food? You look like you could eat a bantha. As they left the chamber, Obi-Wan's hologram flickered. Master Yoda, are you certain this is wise? We know nothing of his capabilities or origin. Wise or not, necessary it is, Yoda replied. Arrived here through no choice of his own, he did. Turn away someone in need, the Jedi do not. Besides, the ancient master's eyes gleamed with something approaching mischief. Curious I am. Power unlike anything I have felt, he possesses. Understand it, we should. Mace Windu remained skeptical. The Separatists could exploit this. If Dooku learns we're harboring an unknown entity, then deal with it, we shall, Yoda said firmly. Fear of what might be should not dictate compassion today. Ahsoka led Naruto through the temple's residential levels, passing meditation rooms, training halls and archives that made his eyes widen. She chattered constantly, despite knowing he couldn't understand, finding his reactions endearing. When they passed a viewport showing Coruscant's nighttime cityscape, billions of lights stretching to infinity, he stopped completely, pressing against the transverse steel with childlike wonder. Never seen a city world before? Ahsoka asked. I guess it is pretty impressive when you're not used to it. Coruscant's been the Republic capital for longer than recorded history. Every inch of surface is built up. Even the oceans are underneath platforms now. Naruto traced patterns on the viewport, trying to comprehend the scale. In his mind, Kurama was equally stunned. No natural chakra network at all. This entire planet is dead stone and metal. How do they survive without connection to nature? Technology, maybe, Naruto whispered back. These people clearly don't use chakra. But that energy those warriors had, the glowing swords that felt like something else, something powerful. They arrived at a small but comfortable quarters, clearly designed for visiting Jedi. Simple bed, refresher station, meditation mat, and a data terminal that might as well have been ancient Otsutsuki technology for all Naruto understood it. This'll be yours for now, Ahsoka explained, gesturing around. Temple quarters aren't fancy, but they're peaceful. Bathrooms through there. She pointed at the refresher, then mimed washing her hands and face. Understanding flickered in Naruto's eyes. And I'll bring you something to eat. You must be starving. As if on cue, Naruto's stomach growled audibly. He grinned sheepishly and rubbed the back of his head, a gesture that transcended language. Ahsoka laughed. Okay, food first. Then tomorrow we start teaching you basic. Master Yoda says I'm to be your guide, I guess. Sky Guy's off on a mission to the Outer Rim, so I've got time before my next assignment. She left briefly and returned with a tray from the temple commissary. Some kind of grain bowl, roasted meat, fruit that looked almost normal, and a drink that steamed slightly. Naruto accepted it gratefully, bowed in thanks, another universal gesture, and dug in with enthusiasm that made Ahsoka grin. You eat like Anakin after a 3-day mission, she observed, settling cross-legged on the floor across from him. So, Naruto Uzumaki, huh? Where are you from? And what was that energy earlier? The golden stuff? Naruto looked up, mouth full, and swallowed. He pointed at himself. Naruto, then gestured broadly outward. Kono Hagakure, Hidden Leaf Village. He made hand signs, ram, snake, tiger, and with a puff of smoke, a perfect copy of himself appeared beside him. Ahsoka yelped and jumped back, hand going to her lightsaber. The clone waved cheerfully while the original Naruto laughed. After a moment, realizing there was no threat, Ahsoka relaxed and leaned forward, fascinated. You can duplicate yourself? That's incredible. Is it a hologram? No, wait. She reached out tentatively, and the clone let her poke its arm. Solid, real. It's actually you. How is that possible without the Force? The clone dispelled in another puff of smoke, and Naruto tried to explain through gesture. He pointed at his chest, made a swirling motion with his hands, then recreated the hand signs. Chakra, though she'd never heard the term. Internal energy, molded and shaped through specific techniques. For the next hour, they attempted communication through pantomime and demonstration. Ahsoka showed him a datapad with basic alphabet, starting with simple words. Naruto proved a quick study. Years of intense training had taught him how to learn under pressure. He pointed at objects, and she named them. Wall, floor, light, door, food, temple, she said, gesturing broadly. Jedi temple, then pointed at herself. Jedi. Jedi, Naruto repeated, the pronunciation close enough. He pointed at her weapon. Light. Saber. Lightsaber, yes. Ahsoka activated one blade, the green energy humming to life. Naruto's eyes widened with fascination, not fear. She noticed his immediate interest in the weapon, the way he studied its construction and movement. A warrior's assessment. This is a Jedi's weapon. We use the Force to... She paused, realizing he couldn't understand. Instead, she held out her hand, and the data pad on the table lifted, floating over to her palm. Naruto's jaw dropped. He'd seen plenty of incredible techniques, space-time ninjutsu, puppet manipulation, even Gaara's sand control. But this was different. She hadn't made hand signs, hadn't molded chakra visibly. The object just moved. He pointed at the floating pad, then at her, questioning. The Force, Ahsoka said simply. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. Jedi can sense it, use it. You really can't feel it at all, can you? Naruto shook his head slowly. Whatever this force was, it didn't register to his senses. But that didn't mean he couldn't recognize power when he saw it. These Jedi were formidable in their own right. He stood and held out his hand, concentrating. Orange chakra swirled into his palm, spinning and condensing until a perfect sphere of energy materialized. A Rasengan, though smaller than his usual combat version. The rotating ball of pure power hummed with barely contained force, casting flickering light across the room. Ahsoka's montrals twitched as she sensed the energy, not through the force, but through the air pressure changes, the heat, the raw power contained in that sphere. What is that? Naruto grinned and let the technique dissipate. He pointed at his chest again, then at the space where the Rasengan had been, trying to convey that this was his power, his energy, different from their force, but no less real. They stared at each other for a moment, two young warriors from completely different worlds, recognizing a kindred spirit. Then Ahsoka smiled. I think we're going to get along just fine, Naruto Uzumaki. Even if you are the weirdest thing that's happened since Master Yoda tried to teach me meditation by throwing rocks at my head. Naruto didn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. He returned the smile with his signature grin, the one that had turned enemies into friends across his entire world. Believe it. While Naruto settled into temple life, elsewhere on Coruscant, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine stood in his private office, hands clasped behind his back as he gazed out at the cityscape. His public face, benevolent, concerned, statesmanlike, had fallen away, replaced by contemplative calculation. Mas Ameda, his aide, waited silently until spoken to. He learned long ago that interrupting the Chancellor's thoughts was unwise. This arrival, Palpatine finally said, his voice carrying undertones of something darker than his usual political smoothness. The disturbance in the Force. The Jedi are keeping something from me. Shall I dispatch intelligence to investigate, Chancellor? No. Palpatine turned, and for a brief moment, yellow flickered in his eyes before fading. No, that would show undue interest. But I felt it, Masameda. Something tore through the fabric of space itself today. Something powerful arrived on Coruscant, and the Jedi are sheltering it in their temple. A weapon, perhaps. A separatist infiltrator. Perhaps, or perhaps something far more interesting. Palpatine moved to his desk, activating a secure hologram channel. Contact Lord Tyrannus. Tell him I require information on the Jedi's newest guest, but quietly, subtly. As the aide departed, Palpatine allowed himself a thin smile. His grand plan had been decades in the making. Every piece carefully positioned, every variable accounted for. The Clone Wars were proceeding exactly as designed, pushing the Republic toward the Empire that would replace it. But variables, true variables, unforeseen elements, those were dangerous. This arrival could be nothing, a curiosity quickly forgotten. Or it could be the type of chaos that disrupted carefully laid plans. Darth Sidious did not tolerate threats to his grand design. If this newcomer proved problematic, he would be dealt with. If he proved useful, well, even the most intricate plans could accommodate new pieces, provided they were positioned correctly. Back in the temple, Naruto lay on the unfamiliar bed, staring at the ceiling. Despite the comfortable quarters, sleep eluded him. Somewhere far above, or below, or impossibly distant, the hidden leaf existed. Kakashi had succeeded him as 8th Hokage after Naruto had been trapped in that ice dimension for months. The village was safe, protected, but his friends, Sakura, Sasuke, Shikamaru, they'd be worried. "We'll find a way back," Kurama rumbled reassuringly. "You've escaped worse. Remember that time Toneri tried to destroy Earth with the moon? That was different. I knew what I was fighting against. Here, I don't even know where here is." Naruto rolled onto his side, looking out the viewport at the endless city. "But these Jedi, they're good people. I can feel it. Maybe they can help. Or maybe you'll help them." "That girl, Ahsoka, she carries weight on her shoulders. Reminds me of you at that age." Naruto smiled slightly. "Yeah, I noticed that too. She's strong. They all are. But something feels wrong. Not with them, but with this place. Like there's a shadow underneath everything. Trust your instincts, Naruto. They've saved us before." Outside, Coruscant's night shift continued. Millions of beings going about their lives, unaware that someone from beyond their galaxy had arrived. Unaware that the Force itself had been stirred by an energy it couldn't touch or predict. And in the depths of space, Clone Wars battles raged on 100 fronts, while a Sith Lord's plans crept ever closer to fruition. Naruto had arrived in the Star Wars galaxy at a pivotal moment. The question wasn't whether he would impact events. The question was how much, and whether even his determination could change what had already been set in motion. 3 weeks passed in a blur of language lessons, cultural exchanges, and growing friendships. Naruto proved a surprisingly dedicated student when motivated, and Ahsoka an enthusiastic teacher. By the end of the first week, he could understand basic conversations. By the second, he was speaking in broken but comprehensible sentences. By the third, he could hold actual discussions, though his grammar remained creative and his accent distinctly foreign. "You're picking this up faster than most diplomats learn new languages," Ahsoka commented one morning as they walked through the temple's training halls. "How?" "Shadow clones," Naruto explained, his basic improving daily. "I make 100 copies, each one study different things. When they dispel," he made a poof gesture, "all knowledge come back to me, like downloading information directly into brain." Ahsoka stopped walking. "Wait, so every time you create those duplicates and dismiss them, you gain all their experiences? That's incredible. Do you realize how much faster you could learn anything compared to normal people?" "Is how I learn a lot of my techniques," Naruto admitted with a grin. "My mentor, Kakashi-sensei, said I could learn in months what take others years, but also give massive headache if too many clones learn too much at once." They entered one of the training rooms where Jedi practiced lightsaber forms. Several Padawans were drilling under a knight's supervision, their movements flowing and precise. Naruto watched with interest. He'd observed these training sessions before, fascinated by the elegant weapon techniques that reminded him somewhat of Kenjutsu, but with their own unique philosophy. "Your turn," Ahsoka said, tossing him a training saber, a practice weapon that delivered stunning shocks instead of lethal cuts. "You've been watching for weeks. Time to try." Naruto caught the weapon, feeling its unfamiliar weight. Lighter than a kunai, heavier than he expected for something made of energy. He activated it, and a blue blade hummed to life. The other Padawans paused to watch. The mysterious stranger who'd fallen from the sky had become something of a temple celebrity, though he remained confined to the Jedi grounds. "Okay," Naruto said, falling into a ready stance that was pure shinobi, knees bent, weight centered, weapon held in a reverse grip. "How this work?" "Not like that," a new voice said. Anakin Skywalker strode into the training room, having returned from the Outer Rim the previous night. The legendary Jedi Knight had heard about Naruto, but hadn't met him yet. Now he circled the blonde warrior, assessing. Lightsabers aren't kunai. They have no weight at the blade, only the hilt. Hold it reversed like that, and you'll cut off your own arm. Naruto switched to a standard grip, and Anakin nodded approval. Better. Now, the basic Form 1, Shicho. It's the foundation all other forms build from. He demonstrated a simple sequence. Overhead strike, horizontal slash, defensive block, thrust. Efficient, clean, practical. Naruto mimicked the movements, his muscle memory and combat experience allowing him to copy the basics quickly, but his style remained distinctly his own, more aggressive, less flowing, with the explosive energy of taijutsu underlying each motion. You're a natural fighter, Anakin observed, but you fight like you're expecting to move faster than your opponent can react. Lightsaber combat's different. It's about reading your opponent, predicting their moves through the force. I don't have force, Naruto pointed out, but I have experience fighting plenty opponents who were faster than me. Adapt, overcome, win anyway, is shinobi way. Anakin's expression shifted to interest. Shinobi? That's what you call warriors in your world? Hi, yes. Ninja, shinobi, same thing. We train from childhood, complete missions, protect our villages. Naruto deactivated the training saber. Your Jedi remind me of shinobi in some ways, elite warriors serving greater cause, but also different. You have many rules about emotion, attachment. We have different philosophy. Oh? Anakin crossed his arms, genuinely curious. What's the shinobi philosophy? Naruto considered how to explain in his still-developing basic. We believe bonds make us stronger. Love for friends, for village, for precious people. These things give us reason to fight, reason to never give up. Without bonds, we just tools. With bonds, we are human. Something flickered across Anakin's face. Recognition, perhaps, or longing. The Jedi Code preached detachment, but Anakin Skywalker had never been good at detachment. His secret marriage to Padme, his fierce loyalty to Obi-Wan, his protective love for Ahsoka, all violated Jedi principles, yet felt more right to him than the Code's cold distance. That's an interesting perspective, Anakin said carefully. The Jedi teach that attachment leads to fear. Fear to anger, anger to suffering. Maybe, Naruto acknowledged, but bonds also lead to courage. Courage to protection, protection to peace. Is all about how you use them, I think. Fear of attachment is still fear, nay? Ahsoka watched the exchange with fascination. Her master rarely discussed the Jedi Code's more problematic aspects, but she'd sensed his struggles with it. Hearing someone from outside their culture question the philosophy was refreshing, even if slightly heretical. Before Anakin could respond, his comlink chirped. Obi-Wan's hologram appeared, miniaturized and flickering. Anakin, the Council needs you. We've received intelligence about a separatist operation on Christophsis. The Republic garrison is under siege. Christophsis again? Anakin sighed. That planet changes hands more often than Hondo changes allegiances. I'm on my way. He glanced at Naruto. We'll continue this conversation later. I'd like to hear more about your world. As Anakin left, Ahsoka turned to Naruto with an apologetic expression. That's how it goes. Always another battle, another mission. The war never stops. War never does, Naruto said quietly, memories of the Fourth Shinobi World War surfacing. But eventually, someone has to make it stop. Someone has to choose peace. In the council chamber, Anakin found the senior masters assembled. Holographic star charts displayed Christophsis' position in the Outer Rim, currently surrounded by separatist fleet signatures. The situation is dire, Obi-Wan explained, stroking his beard. The separatists have deployed a new weapon, some kind of energy shield that our standard artillery can't penetrate. The garrison is trapped. Supplies dwindling. Send me, Anakin said immediately. Ahsoka and I can break through, disable whatever generator they're using. Actually, Mace Windu interjected, the Council has discussed sending additional support. Unconventional support. Anakin's eyes narrowed. You mean Naruto? Know of him, you do, Yoda observed. Spoke with him, have you? Briefly. He's skilled, I'll give him that. But he's not a soldier in this war. He doesn't understand the conflict, the stakes, perhaps precisely why valuable his perspective might be, Yoda interrupted. Too close to the war, we all have become. See it clearly, we no longer do. An outsider's eyes might reveal what we have missed. Obi-Wan's hologram nodded. Besides, we've observed his abilities in training. Those duplicates of his could be incredibly useful in large-scale operations. And his energy manipulation, this chakra, it's unlike anything the Separatists have encountered. They won't know how to counter it. He's also a security risk, Mace Windu pointed out. We still don't fully understand where he came from or why. Taking him off Coruscant into active combat is exactly what we need to see, Plo Koon said, his voice modulated through his breathing mask. How he handles real danger, where his loyalties lie when tested. Anakin recognized a decided matter when he heard one. The Council had already made up their minds. This was merely procedural. Fine, but I'm responsible for him. If he compromises the mission, then handle it you will, Yoda said. But surprised you may be. Strength of character that one has. Feel it in him. I do. Naruto was meditating, or attempting to, in his quarters when Ahsoka burst through the door without knocking. Pack your things. Well, you don't really have things, but prepare yourself. We're going on a mission. Naruto opened one eye. Mission? Real mission. Off-world. Combat situation. Ahsoka's excitement was palpable. The Council's sending you with Anakin and me to Christophesis. It's a planet under siege, and they think you can help. Naruto was on his feet instantly, all traces of meditation forgotten. They trust me for combat. Not exactly trust, more like testing you, seeing how you perform under real pressure. Ahsoka's expression turned more serious. This isn't training, Naruto. Real battle, real danger. People die in war. I know, Naruto said quietly. I fought in war that almost destroyed my entire world. Watched friends die, killed enemies who gave me no choice. War is something I understand too well. The weight in his voice made Ahsoka pause. Sometimes she forgot that despite his cheerful demeanor, Naruto carried his own scars. Then you know what you're getting into. Good. We leave in 2 hours. Meet us at the temple hangar. After she left, Naruto stood at his viewport, looking out at Coruscant's endless sprawl. Kurama stirred within him. Finally, I was beginning to think they'd keep us locked up forever. This is test, Naruto said. They want to see if I'm threat or ally, how I fight, who I protect, what I do when things get hard. And what will you do? Same thing I always do. Protect those who can't protect themselves. Save as many people as possible. Never abandon comrades. Naruto's hands clenched into fists. Maybe a long way, figure out why this war happening. Something feels wrong about it, Kurama. All these battles, all this death, but nobody seems to know what they actually fighting for anymore. Careful, kid. Start questioning too loudly, and you'll make enemies fast. Wouldn't be first time. 2 hours later, Naruto stood in the temple hangar, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of everything. The Republic attack cruiser docked there was larger than the entire Hidden Leaf village. Ships came and went constantly, loading troops and supplies. Clone troopers, identical soldiers in white armor, moved in perfect formation, their synchronization eerie to someone raised in a world where every person was unique. Anakin approached with Ahsoka, both wearing field gear. R2-D2 beeped at Naruto, who'd become friends with the little droid over the past weeks. Ready? Anakin asked. Naruto nodded. Ready, though still don't completely understand what we're doing. Simple mission, Anakin said with a grin that suggested it would be anything but simple. Break through Separatist lines, disable their shield generator, relieve the garrison, and get out before their reinforcements arrive. Standard Tuesday. That's standard? Welcome to the Clone Wars, Ahsoka said cheerfully, where the missions are made up and the odds don't matter. They boarded a shuttle, and as it lifted off from Coruscant, Naruto pressed against the viewport, watching the planet fall away beneath them. Then the stars appeared, real infinite stars stretching in every direction. His breath caught. He'd traveled to the moon in his world, battled in dimensions beyond normal space. But this was different. This was a galaxy. Beautiful, isn't it? Anakin said, noticing Naruto's expression. I felt the same way the first time Obi-Wan took me off Tatooine. The galaxy's bigger than any one person can comprehend. Makes you realize how small we are, and how important it is that we try to make a difference anyway. In my world, Naruto said softly, I became Hokage, leader of my village. Thought that meant I understood everything, that I'd reached end of my journey. But this, he gestured at the stars, this make me realize how much more there is, how much I still don't know. That's wisdom, Anakin acknowledged. Most people never have that realization. The shuttle docked with the Republic cruiser, and Naruto got his first look at a ship's interior. Corridors stretched endlessly, filled with crew moving with military precision. Clone troopers saluted as Anakin passed. Officers monitored holographic displays showing fleet positions. Everything was organized, efficient, and somehow sterile compared to the organic chaos of shinobi operations. In the bridge, a clone captain approached. General Skywalker, we're ready to jump to hyperspace on your command. ETA to Christophasis is 4 hours. Proceed, Captain Rex. Yes, sir. Naruto started at the name. Rex? That's his name? Captain Rex, one of the best soldiers in the Grand Army, Anakin confirmed. You'll be working with him and his men. They're good people. But they all look same. All sound same. All have military designation? They're clones, Ahsoka explained, created from a single template, trained from birth to be soldiers. It's... She paused, seeing Naruto's expression darkening. What? Created to be soldiers, Naruto repeated slowly. Given no choice. Trained from birth only for war. His voice dropped. In my world, we have word for children turned into weapons. We call them victims. Uncomfortable silence fell. Anakin and Ahsoka exchanged glances, both recognizing the ethical complexity they'd been trained to accept without question. The clones were property of the Republic, created for a specific purpose. But weren't they also people? Didn't they deserve choice? They're loyal to the Republic, Anakin said, but even he sounded uncertain. They fight because they have no other option, Naruto finished. I understand. Is not their fault. Not your fault either. But is wrong. Where I come from, this is exactly thing we fought against. He thought of Haku and Zabuza, of the Hidden Mist's brutal graduation exam, of child soldiers created by cruel systems. Captain Rex had overheard the exchange. He approached, removing his helmet to reveal a face Naruto recognized. Not because he'd met Rex before, but because he'd seen that face on hundreds of other soldiers already. With respect, sir, Rex addressed Naruto directly. We weren't given a choice about being created, but we choose how we fight, what we stand for, who we protect. That choice makes us more than weapons. It makes us soldiers. Naruto met Rex's eyes. Brown, determined, alive with personality despite the genetic uniformity, and slowly nodded. You're right, I apologize. Your brothers are soldiers, not victims. They fight with honor, with purpose. I see that now. Rex's expression softened slightly. General Skywalker mentioned you're from outside the Republic. From outside the galaxy, actually. That true? Hi? Yes, very different place. Very different war. Naruto extended his hand in the gesture Ahsoka had taught him. Naruto Uzumaki. Looking forward to fighting alongside you. Rex shook it firmly. Likewise, any friend of General Skywalker's is welcome in the 501st. The ship lurched slightly as it entered hyperspace, and through the viewport stars stretched into infinite lines of light. They were heading to war, to a battle Naruto didn't fully understand, in a conflict with roots he hadn't yet grasped. But he understood this much. People needed help. Soldiers would die without intervention, and whether this was his galaxy or not, his way hadn't changed. Never abandon a comrade. Protect those who can't protect themselves. And if possible, find a way to end the fighting that didn't require more death. The Clone Wars were about to meet the shinobi way. Christophasis materialized from hyperspace as a glittering jewel of a planet, its surface covered in massive crystal formations that caught the system's sun and refracted it into rainbows. Under different circumstances, it might have been beautiful. Now it was a battlefield, Separatist cruisers formed a blockade around the planet, their wedge-shaped hulls bristling with weapons. Republic ships engaged them in a deadly dance, turbo laser fire crisscrossing the void in brilliant green and red streams. Starfighters, both Republic Phi-19 Torrents and Separatist Vulture droids, weaved through the chaos, hunting each other with mechanical precision. Naruto pressed against the viewport, trying to comprehend the scale. Battles in his world involved hundreds, maybe thousands of combatants. This was tens of thousands, spread across cubic kilometers of space, with weapons that could vaporize mountains. First space battle? Anakin asked, amused despite the danger. First everything, Naruto admitted. In my world, biggest battle I fought had maybe 80,000 shinobi total. This, he gestured helplessly at the massive fleets. This is insane. Welcome to modern warfare, Captain Rex said, checking his DC-15 blaster rifle. The scale's overwhelming, but the principles are the same. Identify the objective, eliminate resistance, complete the mission, get your men home alive. The cruiser shuddered as a turbo laser blast glanced off the shields. Red alert klaxons blared. Captain, Separatist cruiser moving to intercept, the navigation officer reported. They're launching boarding craft. Not today, Anakin said, already moving toward the hangar. Rex, prep your men. Ahsoka, Naruto, you're with me. We're taking a gunship down to the surface before they can trap us in void combat. They sprinted through corridors as the ship rocked from impacts. In the hangar, clone troopers filed into LLAT gunships in military transports that looked barely airworthy to Naruto's inexperienced eye. Captain Rex's men moved with practiced efficiency, weapons ready, checking each other's gear. This is the 501st, Rex announced to Naruto as they boarded. Best soldiers in the Grand Army. Torrent Company, specifically. You'll be fighting alongside Fives, Echo, Jesse, Kix, and Hardcase today. The clones nodded acknowledgement. Though Naruto noticed they all bore slight differences, unique paint markings on armor, different hairstyles, varied expressions. Not identical after all. Individuals within the uniformity. Stick close to us, keep your head down, and try not to die in your first real battle, said the clone called Hardcase with a grin. General Skywalker would never let us hear the end of it. The gunship launched, and Naruto's stomach lurched as they dropped away from the cruiser into open space. Through the open side doors, why were the doors open during combat? He could see the battle in full. A vulture droid streaked past, pursued by a Republic fighter. Explosions bloomed silently in the void. Debris tumbled through the darkness. Then they hit atmosphere, and everything became fire and noise. Taking AA fire, the pilot shouted. Hold on! The gunship jinked violently, evading streams of red blaster bolts from surface emplacements. Other transports weren't as lucky. Naruto watched one explode, tumbling toward the crystal surface below. The screams cut off instantly as vacuum claimed the soldiers. Shadow clones, Naruto muttered, forming the hand seal. If I can just... Not yet, Anakin shouted over the noise. Save your energy for the ground. We're almost there. The gunship dove between crystal spires, using them for cover. Below, Naruto could see the Republic garrison, a fortified position surrounded by trenches and defensive walls. Beyond it, a massive blue energy dome shimmered, and beneath that dome, thousands of battle droids advanced in perfect formation. That's the shield, Ahsoka explained, gripping her lightsabers. Nothing can get through it. Not artillery, not airstrikes, nothing. We need to disable the generator from inside. How we get inside if nothing can get through? Anakin's grin was equal parts confident and reckless. We improvise. The gunship set down behind the Republic lines, and Naruto experienced his first moment on an alien world. The ground crunched beneath his feet, crystalline sand that sparkled in the sunlight. The air tasted strange, slightly metallic, and everywhere, the sounds of war, blaster fire, explosions, shouted orders, screams. Clone troopers manned defensive positions, firing at the advancing droid army. Blue energy bolts met red in a storm of plasma. ATE walkers, massive six-legged war machines, fired their main cannons at the shield, which absorbed each blast without effect. A clone commander approached, saluting Anakin. General Skywalker, thank the Force. We can't hold much longer. Droids just keep coming, and we can't punch through that shield. We'll handle the shield, Anakin assured him. Hold this position. We'll break the siege. Where's Generator? Naruto asked, scanning the battlefield. His sensory abilities, honed through Sage Mode training, extended outward. He couldn't sense chakra here. There was none. But he could feel vibrations, air currents, energy signatures. And beyond the shield, something pulsed with massive power. There, that tower, northeast position. Big energy reading. Everyone stared at him. How did you? Ahsoka began. Sensor equipment can't penetrate the shield. The commander interrupted. How can you possibly know where the generator is? I just feel it. Naruto tapped his head. Hard to explain. Like sensing heartbeat of the planet except his machine heartbeat. Very loud, very close. Anakin studied him for a moment, then nodded. Good enough for me. Rex, form up. We're punching through. Sir, with respect, how exactly do we punch through a shield that's stopping everything else? Naruto stepped forward. I have idea. That shield is energy barrier, yes? Keeps things out? Solid projectiles, energy weapons, everything, Ahsoka confirmed. But does it keep out people? Silence fell as everyone processed the question. Energy shields in the Republic arsenal typically blocked everything. Solid matter, energy, even air to some degree. But this was separatist technology, possibly designed differently. Only one way to find out, Anakin said. Naruto, if you're wrong, then we try different approach. But I'm not wrong. Naruto walked toward the shield, and despite shouted warnings, he didn't stop. His hand extended, and it passed through. The shield rippled around his arm like water, blue energy cascading across his skin, but not stopping him. He felt resistance, like pushing through thick gel, but nothing prevented his entry. It's permeable to living matter, Ahsoka breathed. They designed it to keep out weapons, but not people, probably so their droids can enter and exit freely. Fatal design flaw, Rex observed. For them, fortune for us. Anakin ignited his lightsaber. Then we go in fast and hard. Rex, you and your men provide covering fire. Keep the droids occupied. Ahsoka, Naruto, with me. We disable that generator and end this siege. They plunged through the shield, and immediately the situation changed. Inside the energy dome, thousands of B-1 battle droids turned in unison, their photoreceptors locking onto the intruders. Behind them, larger B-2 super battle droids raised their wrist-mounted blasters. And beyond those, destroyer droids rolled into position, unfurling into their tripod configuration, with shields of their own flickering to life. Roger, Roger, the B-1s intoned in their distinctive mechanical voices, opening fire. Anakin and Ahsoka deflected blaster bolts with contemptuous ease, their lightsabers moving in patterns too fast to follow. Bolts ricocheted back into droid formations, destroying their sources, but there were so many targets and only 2 Jedi. Then Naruto formed a cross-shaped hand seal. Multi-shadow clone jutsu! The air exploded with smoke, and when it cleared, 200 Narutos stood in formation. The droid's programming stuttered, unable to process the impossible multiplication. Even Anakin and Ahsoka faltered for a heartbeat. What are you waiting for? The original Naruto shouted, grinning. Let's go! The clones charged and chaos erupted. Battle droids designed to fight in organized lines couldn't adapt to opponents who moved like Naruto. The clones used taijutsu, spinning kicks, flying punches, dynamic entries that sent droids flying. They worked in teams, some distracting while others struck from behind. They substituted with each other, making targeting impossible. And when they took damage, they simply dispersed in puffs of smoke, their knowledge returning to the original. They're everywhere, a super battle droid reported before a Rasengan tore through its chest, circuits exploding. Naruto, the original, fought alongside Anakin, and the Jedi Knight found himself impressed despite his usual confidence. The kid moved like water, adapting to every attack, turning defense into offense seamlessly. His techniques were completely foreign to this galaxy, giving him an unpredictability that even Jedi combat precognition couldn't fully account for. You're pretty good, Anakin shouted, bisecting a droid. You too, Naruto replied, dispelling a clone and gaining its combat experience. But these things are too easy. Where's real challenge? As if in answer, the ground shook. From behind the generator tower, something massive approached. A homing spider droid, 4 stories tall, mounted with heavy weapons, its mechanical legs crushing crystal formations as it advanced. You just had to ask, Ahsoka muttered. The spider droid's main cannon tracked toward them, charging with ominous light. Naruto's clones scattered, but the original stood his ground, orange chakra flaring around him. Kurama, he said silently. Lend me power. Always, the Ninetales responded. Golden light erupted from Naruto as he entered Kurama chakra mode, his body wrapped in the tailed beast's energy. To the Jedi, it felt like standing next to a sun, overwhelming power, barely contained, radiating heat and force. The spider droid fired. Naruto moved faster than Anakin could follow, crossing the distance in a golden blur. He dodged the cannon blast by centimeters, ran up the droid's leg, and drove a massive Rasengan into its central processor. The technique detonated inside the machine, and the entire war machine exploded from within, raining metal debris across the battlefield. In the Republic lines, clones stopped firing, staring. What? What is he? Someone whispered. Naruto landed in a crouch, chakra still blazing. He looked back at Anakin and Ahsoka, grinning. Generator is that way, right? Let's finish this. They sprinted through the remaining droid forces, mere obstacles now, and reached the tower housing the shield generator. It was a massive cylindrical device, humming with power, protected by only a handful of remaining droids. Anakin cut through them efficiently while Ahsoka planted charges. Set for 30 seconds. That enough time? More than enough, Naruto said. He formed another 100 clones. We clear a path back to Republic lines. When explosion happens, shield drops, and their army out here is exposed to our artillery. Battle over. It was simple, brutal, and effective. They ran, the charges detonated, and the shield collapsed with a sound like shattering glass. Immediately, Republic AT-TEs opened fire, their heavy cannons tearing through the now exposed droid formations. Gunships swept in, adding to the carnage. Within minutes, the Separatists' assault crumbled. Victory, complete and decisive. Hours later, as medics treated wounded and engineers cleared debris, Naruto sat on a crystal outcropping, watching the sunset. His chakra reserves were depleted. Using that many clones and Kurama's power took its toll. But they'd won. The garrison was saved. Anakin approached, sitting beside him. That was impressive work today. You saved a lot of lives. Is what I do, Naruto said quietly. But Anakin, those droids, they weren't alive, right? Just machines? Just machines. Why? Because felt wrong, destroying them so easily. In my world, every enemy I fought was person, had reasons, had feelings, had life, could be talked to, maybe redeemed. But these, he gestured at the droid wreckage, just tools. No choice, no will. Created to die. Welcome to the Clone Wars, Anakin said bitterly. The Separatists use droids. We use clones. Both sides use beings created for war, but we tell ourselves we're different because our soldiers are alive. Doesn't feel much different sometimes. They sat in silence, watching Christophas's twin moons rise. This war, Naruto finally said, who started it? Why everyone fighting? It's complicated. The Separatists want independence from the Republic. Say the Senate's corrupt, doesn't represent them. They're not entirely wrong. But their leaders, Count Dooku and the others, they're Sith, dark side users who want power for themselves. And Republic fights to preserve democracy, to keep the galaxy united. But Anakin's voice dropped. Sometimes I wonder if we're fighting for what the Republic was or what it's becoming. Naruto understood war's moral complexity better than most. In my world had great war, almost everyone fighting, thousands dying, started because of old hatred, old fear. Took someone willing to trust enemies to reach across divide to end it. Someone who believed people could change. You, Anakin guessed, and my friends, and former enemies who became friends. But mostly took everyone choosing peace over revenge. Naruto looked at Anakin directly. This war feels wrong, like something underneath, pulling strings. making sure it never ends. Anakin's expression darkened, but before he could respond, Captain Rex approached. Generals, we've received new orders. Intelligence suggests Count Dooku himself was overseeing this operation. He retreated to a facility 30 clicks north. The Council wants us to investigate. Naruto stood, energy returning despite his exhaustion. If this Dooku was responsible for the war's continuation, maybe confronting him would provide answers. Or maybe it would provide something more dangerous. The attention of the Sith. The facility squatted in a canyon carved from Christophasis's crystal formations, a ugly scar of industrial architecture against natural beauty. Separatist ships had evacuated most forces, but long-range scans detected a single life form inside, along with a power signature suggesting active systems. It's a trap, Rex said flatly, studying the tactical display in the Elat gunship. Has to be. Dooku doesn't leave himself exposed unless he wants to be found. Agreed, Anakin said, but it's a trap we have to spring. If there's intelligence about separatist operations, we need it. Naruto leaned against the gunship's interior, listening. 3 days on Christophasis had taught him much about this galaxy's warfare. Its scale, its brutality, its strange detachment. Battles were won, territories changed hands, but the war continued. No end in sight, no peace negotiations, just endless conflict. It reminded him uncomfortably of the system the 5 great nations had maintained before the Fourth War. Perpetual low-intensity conflict justified by mutual distrust and historical grudges. That system had nearly destroyed his world. This one seemed intent on destroying this galaxy. Naruto, Ahsoka said, pulling him from his thoughts. You're doing it again. That look you get when you're overthinking. Just wondering why Dooku, a Sith Lord, yes? Why he stay behind when everyone else escape? What'd he want? To fight, Anakin said simply. Sith crave battle, especially against Jedi. It's their nature. But you said Dooku is smart, tactical, so why risk himself for simple battle? Naruto shook his head. No, he wants something specific. Maybe information we might find. Maybe to test us. Maybe, he paused, maybe to meet me. That got everyone's attention. Why would Dooku care about you? Ahsoka asked. Because I'm unknown variable. I appear from nowhere, use power nobody understand, turn tide of battle. If I'm Dooku, I want to know. Is this threat? Is this opportunity? Naruto's blue eyes hardened. In my world, smart enemies always try to understand new power before committing to fight it. Rex grunted approval. Kid's got tactical sense. I like him. They landed a click from the facility and approached on foot, using crystal formations for cover. Naruto sent shadow clones ahead to scout, a technique that made Rex's men openly jealous of the reconnaissance advantage. Clear path to main entrance, a clone reported before dispelling. No droids, no defenses. Doors open. Definitely a trap, Anakin muttered, but he led them forward anyway. The facility's interior was sterile and cold, all metal corridors and harsh lighting. Emergency systems kept power running despite the evacuation. Their footsteps echoed in the emptiness. At the end of the main corridor, double doors opened into a spacious chamber, and there, standing before a holographic star map, stood Count Dooku. The Sith Lord was tall and elegant, white hair and beard immaculate, posture radiating aristocratic authority. His curved lightsaber hilt hung at his belt, and when he turned to face them, his eyes held the confidence of someone who controlled the situation completely. Anakin Skywalker, Dooku said, his voice cultured and urbane. How predictable. You sense a trap and walk into it anyway. Your master taught you poorly. Obi-Wan taught me just fine, Anakin shot back, hand moving to his lightsaber. He taught me how to beat Sith Lords. Did he? Yet here I stand, while you remain his student. Dooku's gaze shifted to Ahsoka, then lingered on Naruto. And you've brought company, the young Togruta, of course. But you, his eyes gleamed with interest. You are the anomaly, the impossible arrival, the warrior who appeared from nowhere and uses power the Force cannot touch. Naruto met his gaze steadily. Naruto Uzumaki, and you're the one responsible for continuing this war. Responsible? Dooku chuckled. I merely revealed the Republic's corruption. The war was inevitable once beings realized the Senate had become a tool of special interests and bureaucratic inertia. I offer them freedom from that tyranny. By building army of droids and attacking them? That's not offering freedom. That's forcing choice at gunpoint. Spoken like someone who doesn't understand galactic politics. Dooku began to circle them slowly, and Anakin and Ahsoka shifted to keep him in view, lightsabers ready but not yet ignited. Tell me, Naruto Uzumaki, what do you see when you look at this war? I see waste, Naruto said bluntly. Waste of life, waste of resources, waste of potential. I see people dying for reasons they don't fully understand, while leaders on both sides benefit from conflict continuing. Dooku's smile widened. Perceptive. More perceptive than most Jedi, certainly. They see only light and dark, good and evil, Republic and Separatist. They don't see the larger game. What game? Anakin demanded. The game of transformation. The Republic is dying, Skywalker. It has been for decades. Corruption has rotted it from within. Democracy has become oligarchy. Freedom has become control. Dooku's voice took on a fervent edge. The war isn't the tragedy. The war is the cure. It will burn away the rot and create something stronger in its place. Through suffering? Naruto's chakra flickered, responding to his anger. Through death? I've heard this before. In my world, we had someone who believed burning everything down would create better future. You know what happened? He almost succeeded, almost destroyed everything. Because people who think they can build paradise on top of corpses always forget one thing. And what's that? That corpses were people, had dreams, had families, had future. You don't get to decide their sacrifice is worth your vision. For a moment, something flickered across Dooku's face. Doubt, perhaps, or memory of the Jedi he'd once been. Then it hardened again. Idealistic. But the galaxy doesn't run on idealism. It runs on power. He turned to Anakin. You know this, Skywalker. You've felt it. The Jedi Council constrains you, limits you, fears your potential. But I could teach you to embrace your power fully, to use it without their arbitrary restrictions. I've heard this speech, Anakin said coldly, on Geonosis. My answer hasn't changed. Hasn't it? You've grown stronger since then, more capable, and more frustrated with the Council's dogma. Dooku's eyes gleamed. They sent you to war but taught you only peace. They made you a general but forbid you attachments. They demand everything and offer nothing. Does that not anger you? Anakin's jaw clenched, and Naruto felt the tension radiating from him. The Sith Lord's words were finding their mark. Master Anakin, Ahsoka said quietly, don't listen to him. Oh, the student defends her master. How touching. Dooku's attention shifted to her. Tell me, young one, has Skywalker taught you to embrace emotion? Or does he parrot the Council's empty philosophy while drowning in his own passions? Enough talk, Anakin snarled, igniting his lightsaber. The blue blade hummed to life. You're under arrest, Dooku, for war crimes against the Republic. Dooku sighed theatrically. How tiresome. His own lightsaber ignited, the curved hilt producing a red blade that seemed to drink in the light. Very well. Let us educate your new companion on the reality of power. He moved faster than Naruto expected, faster than humans should move. The red blade descended toward Anakin in a form that was elegant and deadly, each strike precisely placed to exploit weakness. Anakin met him with aggressive power, their lightsabers clashing with showers of sparks. Ahsoka circled, looking for an opening. But Dooku's defense was perfect. He fought them both simultaneously, his movements economical and devastatingly effective. Naruto recognized a master at work, someone who'd spent decades perfecting their art. You've improved, Skywalker, Dooku observed, parrying a strike. But improvement without wisdom is merely refinement of failure. He gestured with his free hand, and Ahsoka flew backward, slammed into a wall by invisible force. The Force. Naruto had seen Jedi use it for small tasks, but this was different. Weaponized, brutal, overwhelming. Anakin pressed the attack, rage fueling his strikes, but Dooku remained composed. Yes, use your anger. Feel the power of the dark side. It's already in you, waiting to be unleashed. I am a Jedi, Anakin roared. For now. Naruto had seen enough. He formed hand seals rapidly. Dog, boar, ram, and 5 shadow clones burst into existence, immediately engaging Dooku from multiple angles. The Sith Lord's eyes widened fractionally as he was forced to defend against 6 simultaneous opponents. Fascinating, Dooku said, his blade moving in a defensive pattern that barely kept the clones at bay. True physical duplicates, not illusions. Not force-based at all. What are you, boy? Someone who doesn't need lectures about power, Naruto said. The clones attacked in coordinated patterns using taijutsu combinations designed to overwhelm single opponents. They substituted positions, making targeting impossible. They feinted and struck, working as one mind in multiple bodies. But Dooku was a Sith Lord, trained by the greatest duelists in the galaxy. He began adapting, predicting their patterns through decades of combat experience. His blade wove between strikes, and one by one, the clones dispersed. Clever, Dooku admitted, but ultimately insufficient against a master. He raised his hand toward Naruto, and blue lightning erupted from his fingertips. Force lightning, deadly energy that had killed countless Jedi. Naruto's body moved on instinct. He substituted with a piece of debris, appearing behind Dooku. But the Sith Lord had anticipated this, spinning to meet him. Their eyes met for a heartbeat. Then Dooku unleashed a force push that sent Naruto flying through a durasteel wall. Naruto! Ahsoka scrambled to her feet, igniting both her lightsabers. I'm fine, Naruto called from the next room, pulling himself from the rubble. That had hurt. Really hurt. His healing factor was already working. Kurama's chakra knitting broken ribs. But the raw power behind that attack was staggering. Kurama, these Sith can hit as hard as Biju. Then stop holding back. Show him what real power looks like. Naruto's chakra flared golden as he entered Kurama chakra mode. The facility's lights flickered from the energy output. He burst back through the wall, moving at speeds that left after images, and drove a Rasengan toward Dooku's chest. The Sith Lord brought his lightsaber around to block. But the Rasengan wasn't a simple attack. It was rotating chakra compressed to extreme density, and when it met the plasma blade, the two energies interacted catastrophically. The explosion threw everyone back. When the smoke cleared, Dooku stood unharmed, protected by a force barrier, but his expression had changed. The condescending amusement was gone, replaced by genuine interest and, was that concern? Remarkable, Dooku said. That energy should have killed me. Only my connection to the Force saved me. You possess power that could challenge even the strongest Force users. He deactivated his lightsaber, which is precisely why I needed to meet you. This was test, Naruto realized. You wanted to see what I could do. I wanted to understand what arrived in our galaxy, and now I do. Dooku began backing toward a secondary exit. You're powerful, Naruto Uzumaki, but power without purpose is wasted. When you tire of the Jedi's hypocrisy, when you see the Republic for what it truly is, remember this conversation. The Separatists would welcome someone of your abilities. I will never join you, Naruto said flatly. Never is a long time. And this war is far from over. Dooku's smile was cold. Ask your Jedi friends about the inhibitor chips. Ask them what they've done to ensure the clones' loyalty. Then tell me who the true villains are. He vanished into the corridor, and when Anakin and Ahsoka pursued, they found only an empty hangar and a departing ship accelerating into orbit. Blast, Anakin swore. He played us, got what he wanted and left. What did he mean about inhibitor chips? Ahsoka asked. I don't know, but we're going to find out. Anakin looked at Naruto, who stood silently, golden chakra slowly fading. You okay? Physically, yes, but Anakin... Naruto's voice was troubled. He spoke truth about some things. I could feel it. About Republic being corrupt. About war serving purpose beyond what we see. He's wrong about solution, but right about problem. Welcome to the Clone Wars, Anakin said bitterly, where nothing is as simple as it should be, and everyone's hands are dirty. They returned to the Republic lines in silence, each processing what they learned. Naruto had faced a Sith Lord and survived. More than survived, he'd pushed Dooku to retreat. But the victory felt hollow, because Dooku's words echoed in his mind. The war is the cure. And somewhere in the galaxy, Darth Sidious watched through Dooku's report, his yellow eyes gleaming with interest at this new variable in his grand design. Naruto Uzumaki was now on the Sith's radar. That would change everything. The journey back to Coruscant took 2 days, and Naruto spent most of it in the cruiser's observation deck, staring at hyperspace's infinite blue tunnel. Kurama remained silent, sensing his partner's troubled thoughts. Dooku's words had planted seeds of doubt. Not about the Sith. Naruto recognized evil when he faced it, and the dark side's corruption was obvious. But about the Republic, the Jedi, the war itself. Everything felt orchestrated, like pieces moving on a board toward an outcome only one player could see. It reminded him of Madara's manipulations, or worse, Kaguya's. Someone pulling strings from the shadows. "You're brooding," Ahsoka said, entering the observation deck with 2 ration packs. She tossed him one. "Master Anakin does the same thing after difficult missions. Sits and stares and thinks too hard." "In my world, when I didn't think hard enough, people died," Naruto said, accepting the food. "Better to overthink than underthink." "Fair." Ahsoka settled beside him, her montrals casting strange shadows in the hyperspace glow. "What Dooku said about the Republic, the war, you can't let it get to you. That's what Sith do. They twist truth into poison. But was it twist, or just truth I didn't want to hear?" Naruto turned to face her. "Ahsoka, in 3 weeks I've learned your language, seen your battles, met your leaders, and something is wrong. I can feel it." "What do you mean?" "This war, who benefits? Not Republic citizens, they suffer. Not separatist civilians, they suffer too. Not Jedi who die leading armies. Not clones who were created just to die. So who?" He gestured helplessly. "In my world, when war made no sense, usually meant someone was profiting. Someone behind scenes, making it continue." Ahsoka was quiet for a long moment. "The Council has considered that. There are theories about Sith manipulation, about Dooku serving a hidden master, but we can't prove anything, because you're fighting war instead of investigating it." Naruto's voice was gentle but firm. "Ahsoka, I've been in war where enemy was obvious. This is different. This is..." He searched for words in his still imperfect basic. "Like fighting shadow. You hit it, but real enemy is somewhere else, laughing. So what do we do?" "I don't know yet, but first I need to understand clone inhibitor chips Dooku mentioned." "What are they?" Ahsoka's expression shifted to confusion. "I've never heard of inhibitor chips. Maybe he was lying?" "Maybe, but his voice, when he said it, felt like truth. Like he expected us to be shocked we didn't know." Naruto stood, decision made. "When we reach Coruscant, I want to talk to Clone Medic. Ask questions. You can help?" "I can try. But Naruto, if you start making accusations about the clone army..." "I'm not accusing. I'm asking questions. Big difference." The rest of the journey passed in planning. By the time they dropped from hyperspace above Coruscant, Naruto had a list of questions and a growing sense of urgency. The Jedi Temple welcomed them back, but Naruto noticed increased security. More guards, more checkpoints, more suspicious glances. Word had spread about Christophesis, about the Golden Warrior who'd turned the battle, who'd fought Count Dooku and survived. He'd become famous, and in a galaxy at war, famous meant dangerous. The council summoned them immediately. Naruto stood in the circular chamber again, but this time felt different. Less like a prisoner, more like, what? An asset? A weapon? The distinction troubled him. "Successful, your mission was," Yoda said, his ancient eyes studying Naruto. "Save the garrison you did. The Republic is grateful." "I did what needed to be done," Naruto replied carefully. His basic had improved enough for formal speech now. "But something happened. Count Dooku, he wanted to meet me, test me, said things about the war that I don't understand." "The Sith lie," Mace Windu said flatly. "It's their nature. Whatever Dooku told you..." "He said to ask about inhibitor chips and clones." Naruto cut him off, and several council members shifted uncomfortably. "Said it like you would be hiding something, are you?" The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Shakti spoke. The clones have biochips implanted during their creation on Camino. They're described as inhibitors to prevent aberrant behavior and ensure unit cohesion, standard procedure for accelerated growth soldiers. But you don't know what else they do, Naruto guessed. Their proprietary Kaminoan technology, Obi-Wan's hologram said. He was still in the outer rim, appearing remotely. We've never had reason to question them. Never had reason? Naruto's voice rose. You have army of soldiers with devices in their brains, and you never questioned it? In my world, when someone puts something in your head without your consent, we call that mind control. Watch your tone, Windu warned. No. Naruto's chakra flickered, responding to his emotion. You watch yours. Those are people, Master Windu. People with chips in their heads that you know nothing about. Dooku knew. He wanted me to know. Why? To sow discord, Ki-Adi-Mundi suggested, to make us doubt our own forces. Or to reveal something you should have questioned years ago. Naruto looked at each council member in turn. I want to talk to Clone Medic, someone who's examined these chips. I want to know what they really do. That information is classified, Windu began. Then declassify it. Naruto's patience snapped. I've fought for you, bled for you, helped save your garrison. I've earned right to ask questions. Or am I just weapon you point at enemies and don't expect to think? Yoda's ears twitched. Calm yourself, you must. But, point you have. Questions about the chips, asked they should have been. Long ago, the ancient master looked at his colleagues. Investigate this, we should. If manipulation there is, know of it. We must. I'll do it, Anakin volunteered, entering the council chamber. He'd been standing outside listening. I have contacts at the military medical facility. We can get access to chip analysis without alerting the Senate or the Kaminoans. Dangerous, this could be, Yoda warned. If conspiracy there is, exposing it might trigger consequences. Then we'll deal with the consequences, Anakin said firmly. But we need to know the truth. The council deliberated and finally reluctantly agreed. Naruto and Anakin were given 48 hours to investigate, quietly, discreetly, and if they found nothing, the matter would be dropped. The Republic Military Medical Facility occupied an entire tower on Coruscant's mid-levels. Clone medics moved through sterile corridors, treating injured soldiers from a dozen fronts. Naruto watched them work, each one identical genetically, yet each displaying unique bedside manner, different ways of moving, personal touches in how they organize their stations. They're more than just copies, he observed to Anakin. I know. The Jedi Council knows. But the Senate, Anakin's jaw tightened. The Senate sees them as property, military assets grown in vats. It's one of the things I've struggled with since becoming a general. They found Kix, a clone medic from the 501st who Anakin trusted. He looked up from examining scan results, face identical to every other clone, but expression distinctly his own. General Skywalker, what brings you to medical? Questions about the biochips, Anakin said directly. Have you ever examined one? Kix hesitated. Sir, those are proprietary Kaminoan tech. We're not supposed to. I'm not asking as a general. I'm asking as someone who cares about you and your brother's welfare. Have you examined one? The medic glanced around, ensuring privacy, then pulled up a holographic display. Once, after Tup's incident. Tup? Naruto asked. CT-5385. Good soldier. Was on Ringo when something went wrong. Started mumbling about orders. Seemed confused. Then executed a Jedi without provocation. Died shortly after. The Kaminoans claimed it was a virus, but Kix zoomed in on a brain scan. I got a look at his chip before they took the body. It wasn't just an inhibitor. There was evidence of activation, like it had been triggered. Triggered to do what? Anakin leaned forward, studying the scan. I don't know. The Kaminoans confiscated everything before I could analyze it properly. But General, if these chips can be activated remotely, if they can override a clone's will, Kix's voice dropped. We'd be sleeper agents, weapons that could be turned on anyone at any time. The implications hung heavy in the air. 3 million clone troopers scattered across the galaxy, integrated into every military operation, guarding every critical facility. 3 million potential assassins with chips in their brains that could be activated by someone who knew the right codes. Who has access to activation codes? Naruto asked. That's the thing. We don't know. The Kaminoans won't say. They insist it's for emergency contingencies only, but they won't specify what constitutes an emergency. Anakin pulled out his comlink. Obi-Wan, I need you to access Republic military procurement records. Look for anything about clone chip programming or emergency protocols. Authorization code Skywalker 77 Blue. Anakin, what's going on? Obi-Wan's voice crackled through. Something we should have investigated years ago. While they waited, Naruto sat with Kix, asking about clone life. The medic opened up, describing training on Kamino, the transition to military service, watching brothers die in battles they barely understood. It was heartbreaking. Children soldiers, created for war, given no choice about their fate. Do you ever think about what comes after? Naruto asked. After the war ends? Kix laughed bitterly. Clones don't plan for after the war. We're designed for accelerated aging. Most of us will be dead or physically broken within 20 years of creation. We don't have an after. That's wrong, Naruto said flatly. You deserve future, real future, not just service until you die. Deserve doesn't matter. Reality is reality. But Kix's eyes held something. Hope, perhaps, or longing for something better. Obi-Wan's voice returned through the comlink. Anakin, I found something, buried deep in the procurement records. There's a protocol labeled Order 66. What is it? It's, classified above my clearance. But the designation suggests it's a command structure override, one of several contingency orders programmed into the clone army. I can't access details without alerting the Supreme Chancellor's office. Anakin and Naruto exchanged glances. Why would clone army commands require the Chancellor's oversight? Anakin asked. Exactly my question. I'm digging deeper, but carefully. If this is what I think it is, the comlink went dead. Not a signal loss, deliberately cut. Obi-Wan? Anakin tried reconnecting. Nothing. Blast! Someone's monitoring military communications. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the medical facility. Red lights flashed. Clone troopers in full armor began moving through corridors with purpose, searching. We need to leave, Kix said urgently. Now! If someone knows you're investigating the chips. A squad of clones entered the medical bay, led by a commander Naruto didn't recognize. General Skywalker, you're wanted for questioning by the Senate Intelligence Committee. Unauthorized access to classified military data. On whose authority? Anakin's hand moved to his lightsaber. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, sir. Naruto's senses screamed danger. Something about this was wrong. The timing too perfect. The response too quick. Anakin, these orders. I know. Anakin's expression hardened. We're not going quietly. But before anyone could move, a new presence made itself felt. Every force sensitive in the building shuddered simultaneously as something vast and dark brushed against their awareness. Not a threat, a warning. Someone very powerful was watching this situation unfold. Someone who didn't want them investigating the chips. Stand down, General, the clone commander said, but his voice carried reluctance. Please, don't make us use force. Naruto looked at the clones, good soldiers following orders, unaware they might be weapons waiting to be activated. Looked at Anakin, torn between duty and instinct. Looked at Kix, who'd risked everything to help them, and made a decision. Anakin, we go with them, peacefully, but this isn't over. Naruto, trust me, sometimes you learn more by surrendering than fighting, and I want to meet this Supreme Chancellor who's so interested in keeping clone chips secret. They allowed themselves to be escorted from the facility, surrounded by clones who might be friends or might be programmed weapons. Naruto's mind raced, connecting pieces. Dooku's warning, the chips, emergency protocols, the Chancellor's involvement, the war that benefited no one visible. Somewhere in Coruscant's gleaming towers, someone was pulling strings. Making sure the war continued, making sure the right questions weren't asked. Naruto had spent his life fighting manipulators, Danzo, Obito, Madara. He recognized the pattern, and he was getting very tired of people treating soldiers as disposable tools. The Supreme Chancellor wanted to meet him? Fine. Naruto Uzumaki had questions for Palpatine too. The Senate building towered above even Coruscant's impressive skyline, a massive rotunda that housed the Republic's democratic heart, or what remained of it. Naruto noticed the heavy military presence as they entered. Clone troopers at every checkpoint, armed guards watching corridors, an atmosphere of controlled paranoia. Not how democracy's supposed to feel, he muttered to Anakin. No, Anakin agreed quietly. But the wars changed everything. Security protocols, emergency powers, military oversight. The Chancellor says it's temporary until the Separatists are defeated. Temporary powers have a way of becoming permanent. They were led through ornate corridors lined with sculptures representing 1,000 worlds. Naruto glimpsed the Senate chamber itself through massive doors, a vast amphitheater where delegates from across the galaxy gathered, or used to gather. Now it looked half-empty, many seats vacant as worlds fell to separatist control or simply stopped sending representatives. The Chancellor's office occupied the building's highest level, overlooking the cityscape. Red-armored Senate guards flanked the entrance, their force pikes held at attention. The doors opened, revealing an elegant space that managed to feel both grand and intimate. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine stood at the window, hands clasped behind his back, silhouetted against Coruscant's eternal sunset. He turned as they entered, and Naruto's first impression was of a kindly grandfather, aged but sharp, dignified but approachable, lines of care etched around gentle eyes. His second impression, buried beneath the first, was of something else entirely, something that made Kurama growl in warning. General Skywalker, Palpatine said warmly, moving forward to clasp Anakin's shoulder. How good to see you safely return from Christophasis. Your victory there has given the Republic renewed hope. His gaze shifted to Naruto. And you must be the mysterious warrior who fell from the sky. Naruto Uzumaki, I believe? Supreme Chancellor, Naruto said carefully, bowing slightly, a gesture of respect that committed to nothing. Please sit. I've had tea brought. Palpatine gestured to chairs arranged around a low table. I confess, I've been eager to meet you since reports of your arrival reached my office. A being from beyond our galaxy, possessing abilities unknown to the Force? Quite remarkable. They sat, though Naruto remained alert. Something about Palpatine set off every instinct he'd honed through years of facing deception. The Chancellor's smile was perfect. His voice was measured and kind. His body language radiated grandfatherly concern. Everything about him screamed danger. I understand you've been asking questions, Palpatine continued, pouring tea with practiced elegance. About the clone army, about certain safeguards built into their creation. This concerns me, not because the questions are inappropriate, but because of how they might be interpreted. Interpreted? Anakin's tone carried an edge. The Republic is at war, my dear boy. Conspiracy theories and paranoia undermine unit cohesion. If soldiers begin to question the very technology that makes them effective, Palpatine spread his hands. You understand the danger. I understand that soldiers with unknown devices in their brains are danger, Naruto said bluntly. Chancellor, in my world, we learned hard way that when people hide truth about weapons, usually means weapons will be used against those who trust them. Palpatine's expression shifted subtly, a flicker of something cold beneath the warmth. It vanished so quickly Naruto almost missed it. I assure you, the biochips are merely behavioral modifiers. They prevent the clones from experiencing the psychological trauma that would otherwise result from their accelerated growth and combat conditioning. Without them, the army would be useless. Kix said one activated and made a clone kill Jedi, Naruto pressed. That is not behavioral modifier. That is remote control. An aberration. A malfunction investigated and resolved. Palpatine's voice remained gentle, but something underneath hardened. The Kaminoans assured us, the Kaminoans are contractors who made profit from clone creation. Naruto interrupted. Why would Republic trust them completely? Why would Jedi, who can sense lies, not question this? Silence fell. Palpatine set down his teacup with deliberate precision. You've been in our galaxy for mere weeks, the Chancellor said, and now his voice carried steel beneath velvet. You understand nothing of the complexities we face. The Separatists field billions of battle droids. Without the clone army, the Republic would fall. Without the biochips, that army would be ineffective. It's regrettable but necessary. Necessary. Naruto's chakra flickered, responding to his emotion. Do you know how many times I've heard that word from people who do terrible things? Necessary is excuse used by those who want power without guilt. Anakin shifted uncomfortably. Naruto, no, let him speak, Palpatine said, leaning back. His eyes fixed on Naruto with sudden intensity. I'm curious about this outsider's perspective. Tell me, Naruto Uzumaki, what would you do? How would you fight a galactic war without compromise? I would end the war, Naruto said simply. Not fight it better. End it. Impossible. The Separatists won't negotiate. Because someone doesn't want them to negotiate. Naruto met Palpatine's gaze directly. This war benefits someone. Someone powerful enough to manipulate both sides. Count Dooku knew about chips when Jedi didn't. How? Who told him? Who has access to clone programming and Separatist intelligence? For a heartbeat, something shifted in Palpatine's expression. The mask of kindly concern cracked, revealing something ancient and malevolent beneath. Then it was gone, smoothed over so quickly that Anakin, sitting beside Naruto, didn't even notice. But Naruto saw it, and Kurama felt it. That's not human, the Ninetales whispered. That's not even close to human. Naruto, that thing is wearing a human face like a mask. I've felt energy like this before. From Kaguya, from the Otsutsuki. Something fundamentally wrong with reality itself. You have a vivid imagination, Palpatine said smoothly, and youthful idealism is admirable. But the reality of governance requires difficult choices. The biochips serve a purpose. The war, tragic as it is, will eventually end with Republic victory. And then we can return to peace. What peace? Naruto pressed. Peace where soldiers have devices in their heads? Peace where democracy runs on fear? That's not peace. That's control. Order and control are necessary for civilization to function. Order built on lies collapses eventually. I've seen it happen. Palpatine stood, moving to the window. When he spoke again, his voice carried a weariness that might have been genuine or might have been expertly crafted. I've served the Republic for decades, Naruto Uzumaki, watched it descend from enlightened democracy into the corrupt bureaucracy that spawned this war. The Jedi, for all their power, failed to prevent it. The Senate, for all its ideals, couldn't stop it. Someone had to take responsibility. Someone had to make the hard choices. And those choices led to 3 million slaves with chips in their brains fighting war that never ends, Naruto said. Chancellor, I don't know your full plan. Don't know all pieces you've moved. But I know manipulation when I see it. And I know what happens to manipulators when their plans fall apart. They fall with them. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Anakin looked between them, sensing tension he couldn't fully understand. Palpatine remained at the window, back to them, utterly still. Anakin, the Chancellor finally said, would you give us a moment? I'd like to speak with our guest privately. Supreme Chancellor, I don't think... It's fine, Naruto said, though every instinct screamed otherwise. Go, I can handle myself. Anakin hesitated, then nodded and left. The door sealed behind him with a soft hiss. Now it was just Naruto and Palpatine, alone in the highest office of the Galactic Republic. Palpatine turned, and this time he didn't bother hiding. The kindly mask fell away completely, revealing something far older and infinitely more dangerous. His eyes gleamed with an intelligence that had manipulated galactic events for decades. You're perceptive, he said, voice subtly different now. Still cultured, but layered with dark harmonics. More perceptive than I anticipated. Most beings see what I want them to see. But you're not from this galaxy. Not bound by its rules, its expectations. You see clearly. You're Sith, Naruto said flatly. I am many things. Sith is merely one aspect. Palpatine, or Sidious, his true self, circled Naruto like a predator assessing prey. Tell me, does the knowledge frighten you? Does it make you want to run to the Jedi, reveal my identity, disrupt plans decades in the making? Why tell me at all? Because you're an anomaly, a variable my careful calculations didn't predict. And anomalies can be either threats or opportunities. Sidious stopped in front of Naruto, and power radiated from him. Not chakra, but something similar in magnitude. The force wielded by someone who'd mastered its darkest aspects. I've orchestrated a war that will transform the Republic into an empire. I've positioned every piece, corrupted every safeguard, ensured that when the time comes, the Jedi will fall and a new order will rise from the ashes. Nothing can stop what's coming. Nothing. Except me, Naruto said quietly. Except you, Sidious acknowledged with a thin smile. You possess power outside the Force. You could, potentially, disrupt my carefully balanced game, warn the Jedi, disable the inhibitor chips, change key events through your intervention. You're dangerous, Naruto Uzumaki, perhaps the most dangerous variable I've encountered. So why not kill me now? Naruto's chakra began to gather, golden energy flickering at his fingertips. Because, Sidious said, I believe I can offer you something you want more than opposing me. A way home. Naruto froze. Oh yes, I've been studying the dimensional rift that brought you here. My knowledge of the Force extends to areas the Jedi would consider unnatural. Space-time manipulation, reality alteration, the very fabric between universes. Sidious's smile widened. I can send you home, Naruto Uzumaki, back to your hidden leaf village, back to your friends, your life, your world. All I require is your non-interference. You want me to do nothing, Naruto said. Watch your plan unfold. Let Jedi die. Let clones become assassins. Let democracy fall. I want you to accept that some events are inevitable. The Republic is already dead. It simply hasn't stopped moving yet. The Jedi are already defeated. They simply don't know it. My empire will bring order to the galaxy, end the corruption and chaos that the Republic perpetuated. Sidious extended his hand. Stand aside. Let history unfold, and I will return you to your world, your time, your loved ones. You'll never have to think about the Clone Wars again. For a long moment, Naruto stood silent. Kurama raged in his mind, urging him to attack, to fight, to reject this monster's offer. But part of him, the part that missed home desperately, that wanted to see Hinata and his children again, that ached for the familiar streets of Konoha, that part whispered that maybe Sidious was right. Maybe this wasn't his fight. Maybe he could go home. Then he thought of Captain Rex, of Ahsoka's determination, of Anakin's conflicted loyalty, of 3 million clones who'd never been given a choice. No, Naruto said. Sidious's expression didn't change. No? In my world had chance to give up, accept peace through infinite illusion, everyone living in perfect dream while world died, or fight for real world, imperfect and painful but real. Chose to fight. Choose same thing now. Naruto's chakra exploded outward, golden energy filling the room. You want to control galaxy through fear and lies? I've fought gods who wanted same thing. Beat them all. You're next. Foolish boy. Sidious didn't move, but the air itself seemed to darken around him. I've killed Jedi Masters without raising a hand. I've manipulated galactic events for 30 years without detection. You think your foreign power makes you my equal? Don't need to be your equal, just need to stop you. Blue lightning erupted from Sidious's fingertips, not the restrained attack Dooku had used, but full Sith fury. Naruto barely managed to dodge, the force lightning scorching the floor where he'd stood. The energy felt wrong, corrupting, trying to invade his chakra network. You cannot defeat me here, Sidious said, lightning dancing between his hands. We're in the Senate building. Thousands of witnesses, hundreds of armed guards. Attack the Supreme Chancellor, and you become the enemy of the Republic. The Jedi will hunt you. Your friends will turn against you. You'll die alone and hated, remembered as a separatist terrorist. Naruto's fist clenched. He was right. In a direct confrontation here, Naruto would lose everything. Not the fight, but the war. Sidious had positioned himself perfectly. But, Sidious continued, you now know the truth, and that knowledge weighs on you. Every battle you fight for the Republic strengthens my position. Every victory brings my empire closer. Every day you remain in this galaxy, you serve my purposes, whether you intend to or not. The Sith Lord's smile was cruel. So tell me, Naruto Uzumaki, what will you do? Fight me and become a villain? Stand aside and watch my victory? Or take my offer and return home, free of this burden? Before Naruto could answer, the door burst open. Anakin rushed in. Lightsaber ignited. I felt... He stopped, seeing them standing apart, energy still crackling in the air. What's going on? Instantly, Sidious's mask returned. The malevolent presence vanished, replaced by concerned grandfather. Merely a misunderstanding, Anakin. Our guest became agitated. These dimensional travelers, you know. Sometimes the stress manifests in unusual ways. Anakin looked at Naruto, questioning, and Naruto faced a choice that would define everything that followed. Tell Anakin the truth, that the Supreme Chancellor was Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord orchestrating the war, and risk everything on whether he'd be believed, or stay silent, keep the knowledge to himself, and find another way. He thought of Sasuke, of times he tried to force friends to see truth before they were ready. Thought of how that had nearly destroyed their bond. Just discussion that got heated, Naruto said carefully. Politics is complicated. Sidious's smile was victorious. Indeed. Anakin, please escort our guest back to the Jedi Temple. I believe we've all had enough excitement for one day. As Naruto left, he felt Sidious's presence brush against his mind. Not controlling, just reminding. You're trapped now. Speak my name, and you'll be called a liar. Fight me, and you'll be called a traitor. Do nothing, and you'll watch everything burn. Welcome to the Clone Wars, Naruto Uzumaki. Welcome to my game. In the elevator down, Anakin asked, what really happened up there? Naruto looked at his friend. Good man, powerful warrior, teetering on a knife's edge between light and dark. If he learned the Chancellor he trusted was a Sith Lord, would it push him toward darkness, or would it save him? Something I need to figure out how to stop, Naruto said. Anakin, trust me for now. Please, things are more complicated than they seem. That's what everyone keeps saying, but no one tells me what's actually going on. Because sometimes knowing truth doesn't help. Sometimes it just makes you target. They returned to the temple in silence, both carrying secrets, both sensing the galaxy balanced on a precipice. And in his office, Darth Sidious smiled, secure in his power, certain of his victory. He'd underestimated one thing, though. Naruto Uzumaki didn't know how to give up. 3 days passed in a blur of frustration and planning. Naruto couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sidious's smile, felt the weight of impossible choices. Like he couldn't tell the Jedi Council without proof, couldn't attack Palpatine without becoming the enemy, couldn't stand aside and watch the galaxy burn. So he did what he'd always done when trapped. He trained, he thought, and he reached out to those he could trust. The Room of 1,000 Fountains provided sanctuary, a massive greenhouse at the temple's heart, where nature somehow thrived amid Coruscant's urban sprawl. Naruto sat in sage mode, perfectly still, drawing in the natural energy that existed even here. It felt different from his world's energy, flavored by alien plants and filtered through the Force's omnipresent influence. But the principles remained the same. Balance, harmony, understanding. You've been here for 6 hours, Ahsoka's voice interrupted. She approached carefully, respectful of his meditation. Even Jedi Masters take breaks. Naruto opened his eyes, the orange pigmentation around them fading. In my world, learned technique called Sage Mode requires perfect stillness, perfect balance with nature, helps me think clearly. And what are you thinking about so intensely? About how to fight enemy who's already won. Ahsoka sat beside him on the fountain's edge. You're talking about the war, about what Dooku said, what you learned from investigating the chips. About more than that, Naruto wanted to tell her everything. About Sidious, about the trap, about the coming darkness. But what good would it do? She'd either not believe him or demand proof he couldn't provide. Ahsoka, if you knew someone close to you was secretly enemy, but telling anyone would make situation worse, what would you do? That's, oddly specific. Her montrals twitched thoughtfully. I guess I'd gather evidence. Find proof that couldn't be denied. Then expose them when the moment was right. And if there's no time for that, if they're about to do something terrible, then I'd stop them, proof or not. Some things are more important than being believed. Ahsoka studied his face. Naruto, what did the Chancellor really say to you? Before he could answer, Captain Rex entered the garden, still in armor, clearly uncomfortable in the peaceful space. Sir, sorry to interrupt, but there's a situation. Commander Cody needs backup on Anaxes. Separatist operation threatening the shipyards. General Kenobi requested the 501st, and General Skywalker wants you along. Naruto stood, grateful for the distraction. When do we leave? 2 hours, but sir... Rex hesitated. There's something else. Kix has been asking questions. About the chips. Quietly, but someone noticed. He's been reassigned to a remote outpost, effective immediately. They're silencing him, Ahsoka said, because he knows too much. Or protecting him, Rex countered, but doubt colored his voice. The orders came from high up, Senate intelligence, channeled through the Chancellor's office. Naruto's hands clenched. Another move in Sidious's game. Remove anyone who got too close to the truth. Can we stop the transfer? Not without proof of wrongdoing. And officially, there isn't any. Rex's expression hardened. But I can make sure Kix knows to keep his head down, to stop asking questions that get noticed. After Rex left, Naruto paced, mind racing. Every path seemed blocked, every move anticipated. Sidious had spent decades building this trap, positioning every piece. How could one person, even someone with Naruto's power, dismantle that? You're thinking like you're alone, Kurama rumbled. You never win alone, kid. You win by making friends, by building bonds, even here. But who can I trust? Jedi Council wouldn't believe me. Anakin is too close to Palpatine. Senate is compromised. Clones have chips in their heads. Then find people outside those power structures. The war isn't just Jedi and clones. There's a whole galaxy out there. Naruto stopped pacing. Kurama was right. He'd been thinking in terms of Republic and Separatists, Jedi and Sith. But there were other players. Mandalorians, neutral systems, criminal syndicates, even Separatist leaders who might not know they were being manipulated. I need to talk to Dooku again, Naruto said suddenly. Ahsoka's eyes widened. What? He's a Sith Lord. He tried to kill you. He tried to test me. And he said things about the Republic, about the war, that were true. He's serving Sidious, but does he know Sidious is Palpatine? If I could show him that his master's playing both sides... Naruto's mind raced through possibilities. Maybe I could turn him, or at least make him question his orders. That's incredibly dangerous. Everything here is dangerous, but I can't fight Sidious directly. Not yet. So I fight his pieces, disrupt his plans, make him react instead of control. Ahsoka considered this. You'd need a way to contact Dooku. Separatist communication channels are encrypted, and the Republic monitors everything. What about that Separatist outpost we captured on Christophesis? The one with their communications equipment? It was destroyed in the battle. Main systems, yes, but shadow clones can search rubble fast. If even one communication device survived, Naruto grinned. Worth checking, nah? The mission to Anaxes launched on schedule. The Republic fleet emerged from hyperspace to find the shipyards under heavy assault. Separatist cruisers hammering the orbital facilities, while droid forces attempted to seize the construction yards. If Anaxes fell, the Republic would lose its primary capital ship production, a crippling blow. Obi-Wan Kenobi's hologram briefed them en route. The situation is dire. They've deployed a new tactical algorithm that's predicting our strategies with disturbing accuracy. Commander Cody believes they might have captured one of our strategic planning AIs. Or someone is feeding them information, Anakin said darkly. Quite possibly, which is why we need to capture their command center intact. Find out how they're getting our tactical data. Naruto listened, but his mind was elsewhere. If Sidious was manipulating both sides, feeding Separatist Republic strategies made sense. It prolonged the war, increased casualties, justified emergency powers. Every battle served its purposes. They dropped from orbit in gunships, dodging anti-aircraft fire. The shipyards were massive, kilometers of zero-gravity construction berths, partially built star destroyers, and cruisers in various stages of completion. Droid forces had seized the lower levels, while Republic defenders held the upper sections in desperate firefights. Rex, take your men and secure the eastern access points, Anakin ordered. Ahsoka, you're with me on the command center assault. Naruto, I'll handle droid reinforcements, Naruto said. Keep them from overwhelming your positions while you work. That's a lot of droids for one person. Naruto's grin was confident. You haven't seen me at full capacity yet. They split up and Naruto moved through the shipyards like a golden storm. He'd been holding back on Christophersus, testing his abilities, learning the enemy. Now he understood what he faced, and the gloves came off. Multi-shadow clone jutsu created hundreds of copies that swarmed through the facility. They engaged battle droids in taijutsu, moving too fast for blaster targeting to track. They used the zero-gravity sections to their advantage, launching off walls and ceilings in attacks from impossible angles. And when super battle droids appeared, Naruto unleashed Rasengans that tore through their armor like paper. In the Republic command post, an officer watched the tactical display in disbelief as droid formations simply vanished under waves of golden energy. What? What is that soldier doing? That's no soldier, Cody said, a hint of admiration in his voice. That's the anomaly, and he's buying us the time we need. Anakin and Ahsoka fought their way into the Separatist command center, lightsabers deflecting blaster bolts. Inside, they found the source of the tactical advantage, not an AI, but a direct communication link to someone providing real-time strategic advice. Shut it down, Anakin ordered, moving to the console. But before he could, a familiar voice echoed from the speakers. Anakin Skywalker, still so predictable. Count Dooku's hologram materialized, larger than life, regarding them with aristocratic disdain. You've won this battle, but the war continues. And soon, very soon, you'll understand why all your victories are meaningless. Where are you, Dooku? Anakin demanded. Still hiding behind your droids? I hide from nothing, unlike some. Dooku's eyes shifted. Is the anomaly with you, Naruto Uzumaki? I would speak with him. Ahsoka activated her comlink. Naruto, get to the command center. Dooku wants to talk. Minutes later, Naruto arrived, still glowing with chakra residue from the battle. He faced Dooku's hologram without fear. Count Dooku, funny, was just thinking about talking to you. Were you now? How fortuitous. Dooku's expression was unreadable. You fought admirably on Christophersus, and here I'm told you've single-handedly destroyed 3 battalions of battle droids. Impressive for someone so young. Not here to accept compliments from Sith Lord. No? Then why were you thinking of speaking to me? Naruto glanced at Anakin and Ahsoka, then back to the hologram. Because you're being used. You think you're leading separatist movement, fighting corrupt Republic? But you're just piece in someone else's game. Same as Jedi. Same as everyone. Dooku's expression flickered. Surprise quickly masked. You presume much. I know much. Know that your master plays both sides. Know that this war designed to never end. Know that when time comes, you'll be discarded like everyone else. Naruto stepped closer to the hologram projector. Question is, are you okay with that? Or do you actually believe in separatist cause? Silence. Then Dooku laughed, but it sounded forced. You think to turn me against my master? To sow discord with paranoid theories? Not theories, facts. Your master is... Careful, Dooku interrupted sharply. There are things even you should not speak aloud. Not yet. Not here. His eyes held a warning. But perhaps we should speak further, privately, without observers. Anakin ignited his lightsaber. If you think we're letting Naruto anywhere near you alone, then you doom him to ignorance, and yourselves to defeat. Dooku's hologram began to flicker. Naruto Uzumaki, if you truly wish to understand what's happening, meet me on Sereno, my homeworld. Come alone or don't come at all, but come soon. Time is running short for all of us. The transmission cut out. It's obviously a trap, Ahsoka said immediately. Of course it is, Naruto agreed, but also opportunity. He knows something about Sidious that even I don't know. And he's scared. Dooku scared, Anakin scoffed. He's one of the most powerful Sith in the galaxy. Exactly. And if he's afraid of his own master, what does that say about how much power Sidious really has? Naruto looked at them both. I have to go. Have to take this chance. Then we go together, Anakin said firmly. No, he said alone. If I bring Jedi, he'll just attack or run. But if I go alone, I might learn something. Might find a way to stop what's coming. They argued for an hour, but eventually Naruto won. He'd proven himself in battle, earned a measure of trust. And despite their concerns, both Anakin and Ahsoka recognized that Naruto operated by different rules than Jedi. Sometimes those rules got results. 3 days later, a small courier ship dropped from hyperspace above Sereno. The planet was beautiful. Green forests, elegant cities, aristocratic estates. Dooku's homeworld and the Separatist capital. Naruto piloted the ship alone, landing at coordinates Dooku had provided. A estate sprawled before him, ancient and dignified, surrounded by gardens that spoke of centuries of careful cultivation. Dooku waited at the entrance, wearing simple robes instead of his usual formal attire. He looked older somehow, the weight of years more visible. You came, Dooku said. I wasn't certain you would. I came to hear truth. That's all. Truth, Dooku gestured for him to follow, a commodity increasingly rare in this galaxy. Come, we have much to discuss, and I suspect very little time to discuss it. They walked through the estate, past artifacts from Dooku's life as a Jedi Master, trophies from his time as a renowned duelist, treasures from his aristocratic lineage. Finally, they reached a private study overlooking Sereno's sunset. Dooku poured wine, a civilized gesture, and sat, suddenly looking every year of his age. You were right, Naruto Uzumaki. I am being used. We all are. But the truth, he took a long drink, the truth is worse than you imagine, and I don't know if even you can stop what's coming. Try me. And Dooku began to speak, revealing secrets that would change everything Naruto thought he knew about the Clone Wars. My master's name is Darth Sidious, Dooku began, swirling wine in his glass, but you already suspected that. What you don't know is that he's orchestrated every major galactic event for the past 30 years. The Trade Federation blockade of Naboo, the creation of the Clone Army, the Separatist movement itself. All of it, every piece carefully positioned. Naruto leaned forward. And you've been his apprentice this entire time, knowingly serving someone who manipulates both sides. Yes. Dooku's admission carried bitter self-awareness. I left the Jedi Order because I saw its failures, its complacency, its inability to address the Republic's corruption. Sidious offered me power to change things, to forge something better from the ashes. I believed him. Or perhaps I wanted to believe him. But now I've seen too much, understand too much. Dooku stood, pacing to the window. The inhibitor chips in the clones, those weren't my idea. They were Sidious's, implemented through Kaminoan scientists he'd compromised. He calls it Order 66. When activated, every clone trooper in the galaxy will turn on their Jedi commanders and execute them without hesitation. The words hit like a physical blow. Naruto had suspected the chips were weapons, but this? 3 million assassins, embedded with every Jedi. How do you activate it? A command phrase, known only to Sidious and the Kaminoan Prime Minister, who's now conveniently dead. When the time is right, when the Jedi are scattered across 1,000 battlefields, isolated with small clone units, he'll give the order, and in one stroke, he'll eliminate the only force in the galaxy capable of stopping him. The Jedi Council needs to know, immediately. And what will you tell them? Dooku's smile was sad. That a Sith Lord you can't identify has infiltrated the highest levels of the Republic? They'll demand proof, evidence, and by the time you gather it, if you can gather it, Order 66 will be enacted and the Jedi will be extinct. Naruto's mind raced through scenarios, looking for a solution. Can the chips be removed, deactivated? Theoretically, yes, But there are 3 million clones, and the procedure requires specialized surgical facilities. You'd need months, maybe years, to remove them all. And the moment Sidious learned what you were doing, he'd accelerate his timeline. Dooku refilled his glass. I've run every scenario. There's no clean solution, only degrees of catastrophe. Why are you telling me this? You're his apprentice, his weapon. Because I'm also expendable. Dooku's voice hardened. Sidious has been training another, a fallen Jedi consumed by fear and attachment, someone far more powerful than I am. When the time is right, this new apprentice will replace me. Probably kill me, actually. The rule of two demands it. Anakin, Naruto breathed. The pieces fell into place with horrifying clarity. Sidious wants Anakin as his new apprentice. The chosen one, prophesied to bring balance to the Force. Sidious intends to corrupt that prophecy, twist it to his purposes. Dooku's expression was grim. Skywalker is everything I was supposed to be. Powerful, conflicted, desperate to save those he loves. The perfect vessel for the dark side. And Sidious has been grooming him for years, positioning himself as a mentor and friend, while the Jedi Council keeps him at arm's length. Naruto remembered Anakin's relationship with Palpatine. The easy trust. The way the Chancellor always seemed to understand him better than the Jedi Masters did. It was Orochimaru and Sasuke all over again. A predator identifying and exploiting a vulnerable victim. Does Anakin know Palpatine is Sidious? Not yet, but when he discovers it, and he will, the revelation will come at a moment of maximum vulnerability, when he's desperate, afraid, willing to do anything to prevent a loss. And Sidious will offer him power to save what he fears losing. Power the Jedi would never teach. Dooku met Naruto's eyes. It's already in motion, the machinery of fate grinding toward inevitable conclusion. Nothing is inevitable, Naruto said fiercely. I've changed fate before, stopped prophecies, saved people everyone said were beyond saving. In your world, perhaps. But this is not your world. Dooku's voice carried something approaching pity. You're powerful, Naruto Uzumaki. Perhaps powerful enough to kill Sidious, though I doubt it. But even if you did, the framework he's built would remain. The clone army with their inhibitor chips, the militarized republic, the emergency powers granted to the Chancellor's office. Kill one Sith Lord and another would rise to take his place. Then I'd dismantle the framework, remove the chips, expose the conspiracy. And how? You have no proof, no evidence that would stand up to scrutiny. The Jedi Council would demand you show them this mysterious Sith Lord, and you can't. Even I don't know Sidious's true identity. He's maintained that secret for decades, hidden behind layers of misdirection. Dooku paused. Though I suspect he's someone close to the centers of power, someone the Jedi would never suspect. Naruto's frustration mounted. Every solution seemed blocked, every path leading to disaster. So what do you suggest? Give up? Let Sidious win? I suggest you do what you do best. Dooku's expression shifted. You mentioned changing fate in your world. How? By refusing to accept that people couldn't change, by believing in bonds stronger than destiny, by bringing former enemies together against common threat. Naruto's hands clenched. By never giving up, even when situations seemed hopeless. Then apply that here. Don't fight Sidious's plan directly. You'll lose. Instead, do what he can't predict or counter. Build bonds. Create loyalty that transcends programming. Make the clones more than soldiers. Make them brothers who won't obey an order to kill their friends. Make Anakin see the truth before it's too late. Undermine the framework from within. It was essentially what Kurama had suggested, but hearing it from Dooku, from a Sith Lord who'd seen Sidious's plans firsthand, gave it weight. Why help me? Naruto asked. What's in this for you? Dooku was silent for a long moment. Because I was a Jedi once. Before the dark side, before the corruption, I believed in something better. And while I can't return to what I was, perhaps I can ensure my fall wasn't completely meaningless. Perhaps I can help you save what I couldn't. You could just tell me who Sidious is. That would solve everything. If I knew, I would. but he's hidden his identity even from me. I receive orders through encrypted channels, meet with him via hologram or in darkness. In 30 years as his apprentice, I've never seen his true face. Dooku's frustration was evident. He trusts no one completely, not even me. They talked for hours, Dooku sharing what he knew of Sidious's timeline, his plans, his contingencies. The Sith Lord had prepared for every scenario: Jedi discovery, Senate revolt, separatist betrayal. Every path led to the same destination: the fall of the Republic and the rise of an empire. Except one variable Sidious couldn't fully account for: an outsider with power beyond the Force's reach. "There's something else you should know," Dooku said as the moons rose over Sereno. "Sidious is aware of you, very aware. He's been watching, studying, trying to determine how to neutralize you. If he can't corrupt you or kill you, he'll find a way to remove you from the board entirely. Let him try. Don't underestimate him. Sidious has survived for decades by being 3 steps ahead of everyone else. He's already planning how to handle you." As if in confirmation, Dooku's comlink chirped. He checked it, and his expression darkened. "Speak of the devil. My master wishes to speak with me. Privately." "About me?" "Almost certainly." Dooku stood. "You should go. Now. If Sidious learns you're here, he'll—" The estate's defenses suddenly activated. Alarms blared. Through the windows, Naruto saw separatist ships descending. Destroyers, frigates, a full battle group. "Too late," Dooku said grimly. "He already knows." A hologram flickered to life in the study center. Darth Sidious appeared, hooded and shrouded, his face hidden in shadows that seemed to drink in light. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of infinite darkness. "Dooku, I see you've been entertaining our guest. How disappointing." "My lord, I was merely—" "Spare me." Sidious's attention shifted to Naruto. "You've been problematic, young Uzumaki, disrupting battles, asking inconvenient questions, and now conspiring with my apprentice. I've tolerated your presence because you were useful, a distraction, a test for my other pieces. But you've become more trouble than you're worth." "Good," Naruto said, chakra flaring. "Being trouble is what I do best." "Brave words. Let's see how brave you remain when facing the full might of the Separatist fleet. Lord Tyrannus, you have your orders. Eliminate the anomaly. If you fail, you know the consequences." The hologram vanished. Dooku looked at Naruto with something approaching regret. "I'm sorry, truly, but I have no choice." "There's always choice," Naruto said. "You just have to be brave enough to make it." "Perhaps, but I'm an old man, and cowardice has become habit." Dooku ignited his lightsaber. "Defend yourself. Make it look convincing. Maybe you'll survive long enough to do what I couldn't. Save this galaxy from the darkness we've unleashed." The estate exploded as orbital bombardment began. Battle droids poured through breached walls. Vulture droids screamed overhead. And in the center of it all, Naruto faced Count Dooku one more time. Not as enemies, but as two beings trapped in a game neither fully controlled. The duel began, not with the intent to kill, but with desperation born of impossible choices. Dooku's curved blade wove defensive patterns, while Naruto's shadow clones attacked from every angle. They fought through collapsing corridors, past burning tapestries, across grounds being torn apart by artillery. "The Upper East Terrace," Dooku said during a brief exchange, his voice pitched only for Naruto. "There's a ship, fueled and ready. Go." "What about you?" "I made my choices long ago. Now live with them I must." Dooku's expression held peace for the first time that night. "Go. Warn the Jedi. Save Anakin. Stop Sidious. Do what I was too weak to do." A massive explosion rocked the estate. Naruto hesitated, then nodded. He created a dozen shadow clones to cover his escape and sprinted for the terrace Dooku had indicated. Behind him, Count Dooku, Jedi Master, Sith Lord, fallen idealist, stood alone against the army his own master had sent to kill them both, buying time for the one person who might actually change the galaxy's fate. His lightsaber blazed red in the darkness, a defiant star against the endless night, and Naruto ran, carrying the knowledge that would either save everyone or doom them all, racing against a timeline that was rapidly running out. The Clone Wars had just entered their final phase, and somewhere in the Senate building, Darth Sidious smiled, because even Dooku's rebellion had been anticipated, calculated, and incorporated into plans laid decades before. The endgame was beginning. The stolen Separatist courier ship screamed through hyperspace, its navigation computer locked onto Coruscant's coordinates. Naruto sat in the pilot's seat, hands trembling, not from fear but from the weight of what he carried. Knowledge. Terrible, urgent knowledge that needed to reach the right people before it was too late. Behind him, on Sereno, Count Dooku had made his final stand. Naruto had felt the moment the Sith Lord's presence vanished, not through the Force, but through the absence of a life he'd briefly connected with. Dooku was gone, executed by his own master's forces or by Sidious himself. Either way, the price had been paid. That was a brave thing he did, Kurama said quietly, giving you time to escape. He spent years serving darkness, caused so much death, but in the end, he chose differently. Naruto's jaw tightened. I won't let that sacrifice be for nothing. The ship dropped from hyperspace, and Coruscant filled the viewport, a glittering jewel of civilization hiding corruption at its core. But as Naruto approached, something felt wrong. The usual traffic patterns were disrupted. Military ships occupied positions they shouldn't. And across all channels, a single emergency broadcast repeated, "All Jedi are to report to the temple immediately. All Jedi are to report to the temple immediately. This is not a drill." "No," Naruto whispered. "No, no, no, it's too soon. He's moving too soon." He pushed the ship's engines beyond safe limits, diving through Coruscant's atmosphere in a barely controlled descent. The Jedi Temple rose before him, but it wasn't the peaceful sanctuary he'd left. Clone trooper gunships surrounded it. The distinctive armor of the 501st Legion filled the landing platforms, and leading them, his expression twisted with something dark and terrible, stood Anakin Skywalker. Naruto landed hard, the ship's landing gear screaming in protest. He burst from the cockpit as clone troopers turned toward him, weapons raising. "Stand down," Naruto shouted. "Rex, Fives, what's happening?" But the clones' expressions were blank, eyes distant. They moved with mechanical precision, utterly unlike the individual personalities he'd come to know. The chips, the inhibitor chips, had been activated. "Execute Order 66, Captain Rex said, his voice flat and emotionless. "All Jedi are traitors to the Republic. They must be eliminated." "Rex, no! You don't mean that! The chips, they're controlling you!" But Rex wasn't listening. None of them were. They opened fire, blue blaster bolts converging on Naruto's position. He dodged, substituted, created shadow clones to scatter their attention, but his heart wasn't in the fight. These were friends, comrades, people he'd fought beside. "Naruto!" Ahsoka's voice cut through the chaos. She burst from the temple entrance, both lightsabers ignited, deflecting blaster fire. Blood streaked her face and her eyes held the horror of betrayal. "They're killing everyone! The clones just turned on us without warning." Naruto reached her, and together they fought toward the temple's interior. Behind them, the 501st advanced with terrifying efficiency. No hesitation, no mercy, just programmed execution of orders burned into their brains. Inside, the temple was a nightmare. Bodies lay in corridors. Jedi masters, knights, Padawans, younglings. The clones had shown no discrimination, following their programming with absolute loyalty. Naruto saw Jedi he'd trained with, shared meals with, laughed with, all dead now, cut down by soldiers they'd trusted. "Where's Yoda?" Naruto demanded. "Obi-Wan? The Council?" Scattered across the galaxy, most were leading clone battalions when the order came. "They're..." Ahsoka's voice cracked. "They're probably all dead. Master Yoda and Master Windu are the only council members who were here, and I saw them fighting toward the hangar. I think they escaped." They ran through corridors Naruto had walked peacefully just days before, now transformed into killing fields. Ahead, they heard lightsabers clashing, someone still fighting. In the council chamber, Mace Windu stood alone, his purple blade a blur as he held off a squad of clone troopers. Bodies lay around him, but more kept coming. The legendary Jedi Master was bleeding from a dozen wounds, his movements slowing. "Master Windu!" Ahsoka shouted. "Get out!" Windu commanded, not looking away from his attackers. "Escape while you can. Warn the others. It's a trap. The Chancellor—" He never finished. A figure in dark robes entered the chamber behind the clones, and Windu's eyes widened in recognition and horror. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Except his kindly facade was gone, replaced by yellow Sith eyes and a cruel smile. Lightning erupted from his fingertips, catching Windu from behind. The Jedi Master convulsed, his lightsaber falling from spasming hands. "Your oversight was your downfall, Master Windu," Palpatine, Sidious, said with dark satisfaction. "You never suspected the darkness right beside you." "You!" Windu gasped. "All along, it was you." "Yes, and now your precious order dies with you." More lightning, and Mace Windu, one of the greatest Jedi Masters in history, fell. Naruto's chakra exploded outward, golden energy filling the chamber. "Sidious!" The Sith Lord's attention snapped to him, and for the first time, Naruto saw something approaching surprise in those yellow eyes. "Ah, the anomaly. I must admit, I didn't expect you to return so quickly. Dooku was supposed to delay you longer. Dooku's dead, because of you. Just like you'll kill Anakin when you're done with him. Just like you'll kill everyone who trusts you." Anakin understands necessity. He's embraced his destiny. Sidious gestured, and the clones parted. Behind them, Anakin entered the chamber, his eyes burning with Sith corruption. "Show him my apprentice. Show him the power of the dark side." Anakin ignited his lightsaber, but the blade was no longer blue. It burned red, crimson as blood, the weapon of a Sith. "Anakin, no," Ahsoka whispered. "Please, a Sky Guy, this isn't you." "The Jedi are traitors," Anakin said, his voice distorted by darkness. "They hoarded power. They restricted me. They would have let Padme die rather than teach me how to save her. But Lord Sidious showed me the truth, showed me real power." "He's using you," Naruto shouted. "Using your fear, your attachment. Anakin, you're better than this. I'm finally fulfilling my potential, something you'd never understand." Anakin advanced, his presence in the Force twisted and wrong. "You're an outsider. You don't belong here. And my first act as Darth Vader will be eliminating you." "Vader," Sidious said with satisfaction. "Yes, that is your Sith name. Darth Vader, a name that will bring terror to the galaxy. Now destroy them, all of them." The duel began. Anakin, Vader, fought with techniques Naruto had never seen him use. Aggressive, brutal, channeling rage and pain into every strike. His lightsaber moved with preternatural speed, enhanced by the dark side's raw power. Naruto met him with shadow clones and taijutsu, but Vader cut through the clones effortlessly, the Force guiding his blade to real targets. Ahsoka engaged him with both her lightsabers, tears streaming down her face as she fought her master and friend. "Anakin, please," she begged. "Remember who you are. Remember what you taught me." "Anakin Skywalker is dead," Vader said coldly. "I am what the galaxy needs, order through strength, peace through power." "That's not peace." Naruto created a Rasengan, driving it toward Vader's chest. "That's tyranny." Vader blocked with the Force, the Rasengan detonating against an invisible barrier. The explosion rocked the chamber, but Vader stood unmoved. "Your techniques are impressive, but ultimately meaningless against true power." Sidious watched from the sidelines, lightning dancing between his fingers, clearly enjoying the spectacle. Around them, clone troopers maintained perimeter positions, ready to execute anyone who tried to escape. Naruto realized they couldn't win this fight. Not here. Not now. Vader was too powerful, Sidious too dangerous, the clones too numerous. They needed to retreat, regroup, find another way. "Ahsoka," he said quietly. "Window, on 3. She understood immediately. "We can't leave the younglings. Some are still hiding. If we die here, everyone dies. If we escape, we can save them later." Naruto's chakra flared, preparing his most powerful technique. Trust me. She hesitated, then nodded. 1. Naruto formed the cross seal. 2. 100 shadow clones burst into existence, flooding the chamber, attacking from all sides. 3. The real Naruto and Ahsoka dove through the massive window, glass exploding outward as they fell from the temple's upper levels. The drop was hundreds of meters, deadly for normal people. But Naruto wasn't normal. He transformed mid-fall, Kurama's chakra enveloping him in the Nine-Tails chakra mode, and caught Ahsoka in his arms. They landed in the lower levels, the impact creating a crater but leaving them unharmed. "Run!" Naruto commanded. "Find Yoda, find Obi-Wan, find anyone who survived. I'll hold them off. I'm not leaving you. You have to. You're Jedi. The galaxy needs you. I'm Anomaly. I can handle this." He pushed her toward a speeder platform. "Go! Warn everyone. Tell them Palpatine is Sidious. Tell them to remove the chips." Ahsoka wanted to argue, but survival instinct overrode sentiment. She ran, disappearing into Coruscant's endless urban sprawl. Above, at the shattered window, Vader stood silhouetted against flames, and beside him, Darth Sidious observed Naruto with those terrible yellow eyes. "You're remarkably persistent," Sidious called down, "but persistence without victory is merely prolonged failure. The Jedi Order is destroyed. The Republic is mine. The Empire begins today. What can one outsider possibly do against inevitability?" Naruto looked up at the Sith Lord, at the corrupted Anakin, at the burning temple that had been a sanctuary. Around him, Coruscant continued its business. Millions of beings unaware their democracy had just died. And he smiled, not with happiness, but with determination forged through countless battles. "You know what I can do?" Naruto shouted back. "I can never give up, can always find one more option, can always believe in one more chance. You've won this battle, Sidious, but war isn't over, not even close." He formed hand seals rapidly. Tiger, ox, dog, rabbit, and vanished in a substitution, reappearing blocks away. Then again, and again, using every technique, every trick, every desperate move to escape into the massive city. Behind him, the Jedi Temple burned. The Clone Wars had ended, but the rebellion, his rebellion, was just beginning. 3 days later, on a remote asteroid in the Polis Massa system, survivors gathered. Master Yoda, ancient and grieving. Obi-Wan Kenobi, devastated by Anakin's fall. Bail Organa, one of the few senators who'd opposed Palpatine. And perhaps 50 Jedi who'd somehow survived Order 66. Padawans, knights, a handful of masters. Ahsoka had found them through emergency channels, and she'd brought Naruto. "Failed we have," Yoda said, his voice heavy with centuries of sorrow. "The Order is destroyed. The Republic is gone. The Sith have won." "No," Naruto said firmly. Everyone turned to look at him. The outsider, the anomaly, the one who didn't belong. "They haven't won. They've taken power, yes, but power isn't victory. Victory is when everyone accepts defeat, and I don't accept it." "What can we do?" a young Padawan asked. "We're scattered, hunted. Palpatine controls the entire clone army. Then we build new army, different army, one that can't be controlled by chips or orders." Naruto looked at each survivor in turn. "In my world, we fought impossible war against enemy who could trap everyone in eternal illusion. We won because we didn't fight alone. We united every faction, every village, every person who believed freedom was worth fighting for." "The galaxy is vast," Obi-Wan said quietly, "and Palpatine has already begun calling himself Emperor. His propaganda paints the Jedi as traitors. Who would join us?" "Anyone who values truth over lies, anyone who remembers what Republic used to be, anyone who wants their children to live free." Naruto's conviction was absolute. Sidious spent decades building his empire. We'll spend years tearing it down, however long it takes. Bail Organa nodded slowly. "There are worlds that will resist. Senators who oppose the emergency powers. If we can organize them..." "A rebellion," Ahsoka said. "An alliance of worlds willing to fight for the Republic's ideals, even if the Republic itself is gone." "Dangerous, right?" "This path is," Yoda warned. Long and difficult. Many will die. Many have already died, Naruto said. But their deaths matter only if we continue their fight. If we give up, Sidious wins forever. If we resist, we give hope a chance. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then one by one, the survivors nodded. Not because they believed victory was certain, but because the alternative was accepting darkness as destiny. Then it's settled, Obi-Wan said, standing straighter despite his grief. We begin building a rebellion, a force that will resist the Empire until the day comes when we can restore freedom to the galaxy. And Vader? Ahsoka asked quietly. Anakin? Naruto's expression softened with sorrow. We save him too, eventually, because that's what friends do. They never give up on each other, even when darkness seems absolute. The galaxy would never be the same after the fall from the sky. Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi, Hokage, dimensional wanderer, had arrived during the Clone Wars' final days and witnessed democracy's death. But in that darkness, he'd also planted seeds of hope. The rebellion he helped found would grow slowly, secretly, across years of imperial tyranny. Bail Organa would lead politically, Ahsoka Tano would coordinate Jedi survivors. Obi-Wan would watch over Luke Skywalker, Anakin's son, and the future's hope. And Naruto would become a legend, the golden warrior who appeared from nowhere, fought impossible odds, and refused to surrender even when the galaxy burned. Some said he eventually found his way home, the dimensional rift finally understood through combination of the Force and chakra. Others claimed he remained, fighting in shadow against the Empire until its eventual fall. A few whispered that he ascended to something beyond mortal understanding, becoming a guardian of the Force itself, despite having no connection to it. The truth was simpler and more profound. Naruto Uzumaki had done what he'd always done. He'd faced overwhelming darkness and chosen to light a candle rather than curse the night. He'd made friends in an alien galaxy and fought for them as fiercely as he'd fought for his own world. He'd seen evil wearing a kindly face and refused to pretend otherwise, even when honesty brought danger. And when Darth Vader finally redeemed himself decades later, when Anakin Skywalker returned to the light in his final moments, some said it was because one person, long ago, had refused to give up on him, had believed that even the darkest fall could be reversed if someone cared enough to reach down into the pit and offer a hand upward. The Empire fell. The Republic was reborn. And in archives scattered across the galaxy, records survived of the anomaly who changed everything, simply by being unwilling to accept that change was impossible. Years later, when a young Jedi named Rey discovered an ancient holocron, she found a recording, grainy, damaged, but unmistakable. A young man with blonde hair and whisker marks, grinning despite everything, making a promise. Never give up, never surrender. Always believe your bonds are stronger than any darkness. That's the shinobi way, and it works, believe it. The message ended, but its echo would resonate through generations. A testament to what one determined soul could accomplish when they refused to accept defeat. May the Force be with you, and may the will of fire burn eternal across all galaxies, all dimensions, all possible futures where beings choose hope over despair.